do you mean?
Is it recording?
Yeah.
Brad, what are you waiting for?
Yeah.
I'm waiting to fade more.
What is the one thing in life you're waiting to do?
Smoke crack.
Probably
Smoke
live on
crack.
the streets of New York and smoke a lot of crack.
Yeah, smoke crack would definitely be on my
That's
bucket
one of my
list.
favorite Always Sunny lines when Mac is asking Dennis what he wants more in the world, and he just says, crack. He's like, oh, crack. I thought you meant like a pie or a new car. No, I want crack.
I like how Always Sunny does that a lot. Like, a lot of their... Like, if you step back from their episode plot lines, you can just see the writers in the room being like, what if we just had them smoke crack and get addicted to crack?
No, because that's the like they do such a good job of making everything in that show just spiral horribly downhill in a 20-minute period. You know, like ends up with like these characters are now addicted to crack. These characters are like in horrible indentured servitude or some like thing. Like they always end up in just some awful shit heap of a situation, and just from sheer hubris.
Hubris.
You gotta love it. I don't know. It's again, it's similar with Arrested Development. How like a lot of the shit that goes down in that show is just insane. Once you get to the end of the episode, but the start of the episode is always pretty innocent. It just has to go off how like insanely quirky the characters are.
I need to rewatch that show.
It was great.
I remember watching it all in one go, pretty much, and just laughing the entire time.
Oh, it's just hilarious.
I remember like talking to a ghost about it, and they said it was pretty good. I've never watched it.
What kind of ghost?
Spooky one.
Like, was it a banshee? Was it...
No, it was like more like a poltergeist. He was throwing shit around my house, and I was just, get out of here, dude.
So
and
it
he was
was a
like, hey, have you watched Arrested Development? And I was like, yeah. Actually, I said no. And then he was like, oh, you should watch it.
Poltergeists are a lot cooler than normal ghosts.
Yeah, they are.
They're just objectively better. Because
They
they can do the same. They can do the exact same
like that,
things.
yeah.
They can even look exactly the same way, but they can move shit.
No,
Isn't
they can't.
poltergeist just something that inhabits a building?
I thought Poltergeist was just a ghost that can move things and affect reality.
Not all ghosts can do that.
Well,
I don't know how fucking ghosts do
not
that.
all ghosts can do that.
I just think of the movie Poltergeist, because in the movie Poltergeist, they're like their house is on top of some Indian burial site.
Yep, I've never seen that
The
movie.
house itself.
Never seen that movie, but I know exactly how it goes.
All of
because-
the actors in that movie fucking die.
Thanks.
Not the characters, the actors. That's the
Oh.
whole thing. There's a curse associated with that movie that like all of the actors on it, all the major characters have just fucking died.
But
Like horrible accidents and shit.
I've never seen it, but I know exactly what happens in it because of Family Guy. Because
Yeah.
they played that episode of Family Guy all the time.
Family Guy actually gives me half the information I know about reality.
Do you guys remember?
Family Guy saved my life.
Do you remember how funny Family Guy is?
Yeah.
Do you remember in that episode where he takes an Indian skull that for some reason still has the feathers on it? Because you're supposed to know that it's an Indian skull.
Yeah.
And anyway, he uses it as an athletic cup.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, haha, Peter put his penis in a skull.
Diamond Phillips. That's, what he
That's
calls
really
it.
funny.
You know, speaking of like knowing a movie happens because Family Guy spoiled it. In Futurama, they have an episode that's based off Minority Report, and I only watched that movie for the first time last night, and nothing happens in it that's like that episode. I mean, obviously the premise is similar with like the pre-crime shit,
But there was another. I think Family Guy did Minority Report
they
too.
probably did. That movie's a 90% of Rotten Tomatoes. Fuck that. There's no way. It's like a 75 at best.
I mean, most really well-known movies that are known for being good are like they're like 85 to 92%.
I don't know. It's just I didn't.
Oh, you know what movie I finally
Obviously,
watched?
had really cool sci-fi stuff in it in Minority Report, but I just thought the plot was ridiculous.
I finally watched Eraserhead.
Oh, you did?
What'd you think
I
of
did.
it?
I liked it a lot.
I knew you would.
I liked it a lot.
Of course you would like that movie.
Yeah. I like the baby.
Brad, have you seen Eraserhead?
Yeah, I saw it a long time ago actually.
Oh my God, we've all seen Eraserhead.
No, I haven't seen it.
You said you did.
When did I say
You said that was like the first David Lynch thing you saw, didn't you?
No, that was
Twin Peaks.
no Mulholland Drive.
Oh yeah, Mulholland Drive.
Oh, God bless Mulholland Drive.
God, David Lynch makes weird movies.
Yeah.
But you know why they're so weird is because he doesn't like think about how people make movies. He just makes movies how he makes them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, aren't you just making movies to you're your own audience or something like that. Isn't that the way?
Well, yeah.
that the
Like, he
filmmakers
doesn't
credo?
follow the form, like the general accepted formula for movies. He's
Yeah.
just like, he makes movies how he makes it.
Well, I feel like a lot of people
It
think that way
works.
because of Mulholland Drive. Because Mulholland Drive was originally shot as like a TV pilot.
Yeah, it was
and
actually-
then it was wrapped up as a movie. So it has a sort of the reason its narrative is so broken and encrypted is just because of that.
Yeah, and actually, that's the complete opposite situation with Twin Peaks. Because with Twin Peaks, it was always in mind as a TV show,
Yeah.
but there was a stipulation, or there was a possibility that the network wouldn't pick it up. No, they couldn't get anybody to pick it up.
Yeah.
So if that was the case, then they just release a different version of the pilot that was like 45 minutes longer,
Yeah.
and with an ending that wrapped it all up.
And that's the pilot where they go to the hospital and then they see Mike and Bob there.
Yeah.
There, yeah.
Yeah, and that ending was, that version of the pilot was actually released as a movie in the
Europe,
UK.
yeah.
Wow.
Huh.
Yeah, but Mulholland Drive, he wrote it as a TV show again, but then he actually couldn't find anybody to buy it.
Yeah.
So they just wrapped it up as a
The
movie.
story says, and now there's all these scenes in that movie that don't make any sense.
And it'd be really interesting to see. I wish we could see the Mulholland Drive TV show.
Oh God, that'd be awesome.
That'd probably be freaking
I haven't
crazy.
watched it, so I need to watch that too.
I don't like. I feel like obviously, like part of me just thinks. I mean, he's 70 something. You know, I think Twin Peaks: The Return is his last thing, his last outing. You know, like who
I don't
knows?
know.
But like,
I
I
don't
might make
know.
like a final movie or something.
well, because he doesn't, because he like very much does not like to travel and things like that. You know, so I feel like that's a big thing. And I again, age is a huge factor in whether or not you keep doing stuff. And I feel like, you know, yeah, there are people who still worked in their 80s and 90s as actors and filmmakers, but like,
Well,
Jesus.
David Lynch is, like, first and foremost, he just sees himself as an artist. Like, he
Yeah.
doesn't just make movies, he does paintings, he makes music too, and other art projects.
He does a lot of,
And
like,
he
web
says,
series
like,
stuff, doesn't
he's so, like he refuses to explain, like, literally why he does things. He literally explains his creative process as he meditates and then ideas come to him,
Yeah.
like images, and then he tries to, like, connect images together in a way that makes sense, like to the
like frog moths.
most base level of sense, like frog moths.
Yeah. I just the woods and there were frog moths. Like, I can't do his voice, but I fucking love that video. And it's with the clip
Yeah.
from The Return with the fucking creepy moth thing.
His first short film he made, I guess you could call it, was called 6 Men Getting Sick, and it was this painting of these 6 heads, and then there's just police sirens in the background, and then, like, black goop comes out of their mouths, and there's, like, cryptic messages in it,
Art.
and it's just it's like a 15-second loop.
So, the only thing left for David Lynch to do is an ARG, and then you're just set.
And they're,
Then
I
you're
mean,
golden.
with the new Twin Peaks, there is
They
kind of
they
a,
did like an ARG sort of thing,
but I don't think that was directly from Lynch and Frost. I think that was from the company
There's some
that,
Showtime.
well, I don't know how much we can talk about this because I don't want to spoil it for the other people that are in this room.
That's fair.
But they made somebody related to the production of the show made a website that also exists in the show. And, but I don't think it was directly from the creators. I think it was from the company, the record label that the soundtrack is released through. Because
Record
on
label
that
name?
website there's hidden links, and they pretty much all lead to an advertisement for the record and
Oh, and
the
like
soundtrack
buying
and some
shit? Oh, that's kind of
some
stupid.
version.
I
So
didn't
there was
spend much
actually
time at that
there's
site.
actually
I really just dicked around.
coordinates hidden on that website that led to some random person's backyard in South Dakota.
Can you imagine like living there and then all these fucking weirdos just start coming to your backyard?
Yeah, and you'd assume that the people would have given permission for them to do that, but apparently they didn't.
Yeah.
Because somebody made a Reddit post and said they were the owner of that land, and they were pissed off that people were just walking around in his backyard and, like, destroying the grass and shit.
Who gives a fuck? It's Dakotas. Like, no one cares.
Well, he was trying to sell the place.
Oh yeah.
It was up for bid on
Yeah.
some real estate website.
Maybe that's why
That's
they
it.
did it.
Yeah. That's
Let's
like a
help
real
this
estate
dude
thing.
sell his house.
Actually, yeah,
The whole
that's
of
a good
Twin
point.
Peaks Return is a money laundering scheme to
Yeah.
have property sold in the Dakotas. Honestly,
I can see that.
No, because I remember how whenever you and I like are going through movies on Netflix or Amazon, and we go through horror movies especially, and just how many dog shit looking movies there are, and we're thinking like these got to be like a bunch of like Ponzi scheme style things, where like fake movies made to.
No, you can make
bullshit.
You can make horror movies insanely cheap. Well, I guess you can make any movie insanely cheap, but horror movies are the most effective because just on the base level, it's going to be scary to somebody if you have scary imagery in it.
And jump scares.
Yeah,
and it's not too hard to do jump scares.
Like if you go to those like really low budget, small indie horror movies and put one on, it's gonna be the most generic. It's gonna be the most generic plot development you've ever seen in your life.
Beyond the Gates, that was one of the movies I watched last night. The movie sucks. Like it's like special effects are dog shit. The premise is so hokey and ridiculous. It's not that scary, and it's barely over an hour long. It's so short.
Yeah,
it feels like a Twilight Zone episode style thing, or like something from Creepshow. Like it's just really weird.
And those low budget horror movies are really just used by the industry as training on the technical side for people.
Yeah.
Like if you want to train to learn how to do cinematography or edit audio or capture audio or set up a set or lighting or anything like that or makeup, then you're probably going to be working on a horror movie for one of your first jobs.
And honestly, like with all the people who want to be actors or do stuff with film, you're always going to find people who are, I'll be this extra in your scene, or I'll do this small part for like a couple bucks basically, or like some like shitty amount of money.
And the reason why it works more often than trying to do a drama low budget or anything else low budget is because horror is just really, it's just really easy to scare somebody.
I wonder how much like Netflix pays those filmmakers to put those shit horror movies on their service.
I think they just buy a license for it.
Yeah, there's probably some license to pay for it.
They buy something from like the studios, and the studio just gives them all their movies.
Yeah.
No, you buy a driver's license.
Yeah, you buy a driver's license, and you're like, well, since you bought this driver's license, I'll let you put this movie on your service.
Since if you can drive, that means you can take control.
That means you can take control of your...
Here's $30,000. Actually, it'd be kind of tough to make a good movie on $30,000.
Being the film guy here, John, what movie would you say has had what is the most iconic movie with like such an abysmally low budget?
Blair Witch Project, hands down.
Really?
Blair Witch Project was
made money.
Well, actually,
best guess.
There's another movie
I
can't think of the name of the other movie, but Blair Witch Project was only like I want to say.
I think it was 100,000.
I think it was 20,000 at most.
Damn.
But it was super low budget because literally all you need is just 3 actors and a camera.
And probably the bulk of that cost is the filmmaking equipment and like transpo and shit.
Yeah,
because filmmaking equipment is expensive.
There's an urban myth out there that the actors had no idea what was going on, and that's not true. They knew they were in a horror movie, and at the end and beginning of every day, they'd be briefed on what would be filmed and happening that day. But they weren't filled in on any specifics at all. Yeah. So they didn't know what they would be seeing. They didn't know really how long they'd be out there.
Or like when exactly. They just know.
Or when they'd get food. And when they did get food, it was a really low amount. But if they were going in blind, those people would just like run out of the woods as soon as possible.
Dude, I haven't seen Blair Witch Project in a million years, and I think a lot of the scary shit in the movie isn't actually that scary, but the one scene that always gets me is when they wake up and they have the fucking stick figures all around them. Holy shit, that part is insane.
I think it was scary when...
it's just freaky as shit that the figures look really creepy, and like how they're all different material, and they're just like slowly panning and seeing how many there are. That's fucked.
I think it was
so fucked.
It was pretty creepy when the one dude disappears, and the next day they get a little handkerchief with his teeth in it.
His tongue, it's like an eye, like his teeth. Holy fuck!
But
then they made how many sequels? 2.
They made the second 2 or 3.
I know there was one sequel, and then I think they made a remake of it, if I'm not mistaken.
They did make a remake of it that came out like last year. It was really bad.
That's fucked.
I remember when that was coming out.
There was also there's another Blair Witch type movie, but it was one they like broadcast to theaters, and it was about the Jersey Devil and the Pine Barrens. Last broadcast.
Yeah, I've heard of that one.
Fucking movie.
I haven't seen that one.
Is it good or
60,000. That was
Oh, 60,000?
Yeah.
That's more than I expected. But they made
That's still
millions of
pretty low.
dollars off that movie. They-
248.6 million. Was
Yeah.
like, shit. That's fucked.
That's
It's
probably
insane.
the greatest disparity between budget and profit.
Yeah. And now,
What about
Well-
PewDiePie?
Oh, actually, that's a good point. I don't know how
Makes
much
some videos?
PewDiePie has put into
Because
it.
that's not a movie, but it's still like
doesn't
visual.
PewDiePie actually like do a shitload of
entertainment.
work though? Like
Yeah.
in terms of editing, and he has to do videos like every fucking day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even just Let's Plays are still a lot of work because just the process of editing, using a video editor, is just inherently slow.
Yeah.
Until someone comes up with a program that can
There's
express
that.
edit something to the same amount of quality, it's always going to be slow.
It's impossible to do that though. I don't know.
Because even editing audio can be complicated.
Yeah.
But once
No,
you have
really.
audio and video to deal with, then it's it doubles
Is
the
it
workload.
really like I figure you could do a lot of Let's Plays and a lot of like the shittier ones I guess out there or whatever you want to call it. It's just gameplay footage, like just straight, and then audio just layered on top. Like I don't know
Well,
how much more you really need.
yeah, you
to
can
it,
do-
but I guess I'm ignorant about it. So
Well, all you really need for a Let's Play is just like a game recorder and a microphone. But
camera cards cost like $200 fucking.
but to be
It's
effective
crazy.
at it, you need to know like how long people watch the video. You need to know what people watch the video for.
Uh-huh.
There's more elements to it than just uploading you playing a game.
People
Yeah.
need to do more Let's Plays on unregistered hypercam too. Like I want to see more of that,
I
or just
agree.
like a little fucking.
Dude, that's a
unregistered
great
hypercam,
idea.
too.
A Let's Play channel where they just use the shittiest recording equipment possible.
People
Like
play
they-
like really new games.
They
with,
use like a USB microphone that was in a Happy Meal toy like from 2003 or something, and then
You
they,
like-
they use unregistered Hypercam 2 on a screen output at like 360p.
What you could probably do
and
is
they purposely like completely fuck the audio, so it's like totally out of sync with the rest of it.
you could take the speaker from a McDonald's toy and hook it up so it works as a mic.
Yeah. You could. No, you can do that with headphones too.
Yeah.
Because
Christ.
have you ever taken a pair of cheap headphones and had one in and then you tap the other one? Because you can actually hear yourself tap the speaker on the other earpiece.
Yeah. Dissonance cast. That's what you do. It's just horrible white noise with gameplay footage in really low quality. I can see it.
I can.
Like imagine just clicking on a random Let's Play clickbait thumbnail and then it's just like today we are playing.
It's just like fucking 100 by 100. Some like Call of Duty World War II.
What if all of a sudden like the Game Grumps
No,
just released
no.
a video?
I
on
It'd
I
be,
wanna see
it'd be
it.
perfect if you could do that and then have bot accounts comment on it and be like, wow, this is a great video. Like, this part was really funny or something like
No,
that.
I want to see someone who doesn't own a microphone, but they still want to do Let's Plays. So what they do is they play the gameplay footage and they just transcribe it into Microsoft
Oh my
SAM or
God.
something. And they just play
No.
it in sync.
What they do is they play the game, but you know those tutorial videos
Yeah,
where they
with
just
the
pull up
notepad.
Notepad.
Yeah.
They pull up Notepad and make the font really big.
Yeah.
No, it's just like like they're playing the game, and then
Wow, that was very
In
scary.
the middle of the game.
no, they play a game and they knock over a chair, and then they pause the game, and then they close it, open up Notepad, and set the font size, and then they type, haha, wasn't that funny? I knocked over the chair.
Or they-
and then they go back to the game, and then have to wait for it to catch up, and
Or
then play
they're
it
like
again.
installing drivers like in the first half of the video or some bullshit.
It's like the game like in like the top left corner. You know, it's just like a
No,
small screen.
but that would actually be really interesting. I think to show you like how like bullshitty a lot of games can be when there's like all this shit you have to install and things like that. Like
Oh, yeah.
show the raw footage, like not just the game itself, but like all the bullshit you have to go through.
Fucking
to actually play
Gmod
the
is
game.
like that.
What if there was
like,
what-
I have to buy this like.
Yeah, Gmod's
expansion
horrible
and
with
shit.
that. But what if there was a game where it's part of the design is that you have to figure out how to install it. So there's no installation instructions,
really cool,
and you
actually.
have to open up a RAR file, and then you have to extract like this zip folder.
Like a treasure hunt sort of thing.
Yeah.
where you're
It's like
doing
a-
it throughout computer files. I
I-
feel like it's a really easy
It's
way
like
to
you
give
take
people
apart
like
ISO
viruses
files.
and shit.
And then once you finally get it to load, it's just the first level of Mario, and then that's it. It ends after that.
oh man,
You are that
Great.
wiener.
that'd actually be really cool.
There's actually a website called I don't remember what it's called actually, but if you Google how to hack, it'll come up. But it's a website where it has, you sign up for it, and it just has different exercises that show you how to hack, like how to exploit. It's pretty out of date now, but
Okay, yeah.
it shows you different exploits you can use to like.
Does it show you shit
get
like,
past the
type
login
this
screen?
certain thing in a notepad document and then save it as a certain type of file?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then you can
Yep.
command prompt.
Yeah, it has
without administrator. Or
No,
some
you use
bullshit.
command
Like,
prompt a lot with
shit
it.
you would
Like,
do in like middle school or something.
like you have to do the inspect elements sometimes and search for the password in the actual code
Yeah.
of the web
I
page.
remember thinking I was really hot shit for being able to open command prompt on middle school computers and like
Yeah, me
thinking
too.
it was actually cool and was like, I can't do dick with this.
Well, I was able to open up command prompt and then like load like notepad scripts that loop into it.
Yeah.
They just post a looping message and crash.
Oh,
the
yeah,
computer.
or
In
like-
school, like
They have a thing where because all this like the computers would be on like a network together. I remember some people were able to like remotely shut down other people's computers while they were doing shit on it. So what they
Yeah,
would do-
apparently you could do that. I've never seen anybody do it, and I tried to do it and it wouldn't work.
People would always tell me they did it, but I take that with a grain of salt. But like they could do that sort of like they do the steps leading up to it like it was nothing. So I figured, hey, maybe they did it, and that'd be fucking hilarious. Like you're working on some sort of project with your whole class in the computer lab, and then your computer's just fucking shutting down. You get like a warning message telling you've been hacked by North Korea or some bullshit.
One time I
Great.
downloaded a Tor browser onto the school computer, and I went on Silk Road, and just and then when we left, I just left it up. I just left it up when we left. So I don't know if somebody saw it and did
The
anything.
page for crystal meth right on your computer,
Yeah.
and then you put it on all the computers.
remember that kid in high school who said he had like a bunch of Bitcoin, you know?
Oh,
Yeah.
No, he did have a bunch of Bitcoin. He had like 21 Bitcoins.
How much is that now?
A shit.
That's
ton
a
of shit.
lot
of
more money
Yeah,
now.
Bitcoin's actually like going down in value.
But Silk Road is down right now, and then Alpha Bay they took out recently too, didn't they?
I don't know anything
Dude.
about it.
Remember when we took his USB? When he like went
Yeah.
to the bathroom and we had like all these random admin accounts on just
Yeah.
like charity websites and
Yeah, it was
It was
weird.
messed up.
And all the websites were like these, like it looked like they were from 2000.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think maybe he was just practicing, like seeing if he could.
Yeah,
do
I
it.
think because those were
Holy
those
shit.
were really simple websites, so I think he was just practicing hacking into them or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just for reference, 21 bitcoins is $70,800.
Jesus
shit.
Christ!
But isn't the
I remember
whole thing
back
with
then we looked it
Bitcoin
up and
is
it was
that
only like 20,000.
is that its value goes down progressively over time? It's designed to do that. Like it's only going to stick around for so long, and
See,
because the way it works,
Bit-
they keep doubling the amount there actually is.
Bitcoin
Yeah,
seems
something
so
like that.
complicated. I've never been able to wrap my head around it.
What I've in the most layman's term I've heard described to me, it's the way you get them is by doing mining. Is just having your computer do math problems for you.
Yeah.
And then if you solve math problems, you get bitcoins. And the whole blockchain thing is that everyone has a ledger of all the Bitcoin transactions,
Yeah.
and that's how they regulate a black market economy.
Because if
apparently.
you want to get rid of Bitcoin, you have to block every single
That's just
computer.
so
you have to
fucking weird.
get into every computer.
like because
that.
obviously
is
the
in
black
blockchain.
market doesn't have an economy, you know. It's like supply and demand in its most raw form. But now that there's shit like cryptocurrency, there actually is a black market economy,
Yeah.
and people can fucking order drugs off the internet and shit. That's so insane. Like when you think about it.
I
Like,
wonder how long it took for drugs to be available on the internet.
Oh, like
Probably not that-
like when
When
Silk Road
was the
stopped?
first time someone sold drugs on the internet?
Well, it'd be on the
Instantly.
dark web. Well,
Probably
the
within
first
a
one
week.
was-
Like,
probably someone did it through
Fairway.
eBay and just no one.
Probably
found out
with
about it.
probably
Early days,
probably
yeah.
within a week that like the version of the internet was public, like that people had personal computers and had access to the internet. Probably within a week, somebody did some drug deal on the internet.
I'm thinking like late 80s, you know, with like chat rooms and things like that. You
This
know, just
article
starting
on
to
the-
become a
yeah.
thing.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
people done
There was
that.
probably a ton of drugs sold on chat
It's
rooms.
like websites specifically for that, like early Silk Road type shit.
Like the AOL Messenger.
I would not be
or
surprised
whatever.
if like the first like e-commerce thing was like a drug deal. Like
Yeah.
it wouldn't. It
Sure,
really
yeah.
would not surprise me.
No, it was probably the first transaction on the internet was, give me $5 and I'll show you my tits. That's probably what
Yeah.
it is.
I wouldn't put it. Yeah, porn makes sense.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah. Have you ever seen the first like image uploaded to the internet and it's like this weird like it's like a French bachelorette party or something?
What?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've never seen
weird.
that.
It's like 1993, I think. Something like that.
Whoa.
What is this?
It's like a bunch of big-haired, like, people with that.
Big-haired hippies.
What if there's a whole conspiracy around this internet thing and it's actually been around
Holy
since
shit.
the dawn of time?
Here's
It's been around
a.
since, like, the 60s. Like,
No, it's been around since the dawn of time, Brad.
It's actually been around since the 50s, Brett.
50?
There's an article from
Something like that.
2013 on the Guardian.
Yeah,
And they're talking about a
1850.
book written in 2005 where it says, in 1971 or 72, Stanford students using ARPANET accounts, which was the internet before it was the internet, because it used to be DARPANET and then it was ARPANET. Or
Yeah.
maybe it was always ARPANET, where it was like a military.
Wasn't it originally supposed to be something that submarines could communicate with?
Yeah, it was like a military communications thing, and then it became the internet eventually. So Stanford students using ARPANET at Stanford University's Artificial Intelligence engaged in a commercial transactions with their counterparts at MIT. Before Amazon, before eBay, the seminal act of e-commerce was a drug deal. The students used the network to quietly arrange the sale of an undetermined amount of marijuana.
There you go.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised.
The first e-commerce deal was a drug
Well, yeah,
deal.
I guess, because again, I mean,
How are
that
we
was
going
in
to
the
track
70s.
that?
yeah, how are they gonna find? It's literally like proto-internet.
Yeah,
like, how the
exactly.
fuck? What are you gonna do about it?
They barely understand it. How are they
Wait,
going to
wait,
fucking
but-
track shit?
But did they actually send money through the internet in some way?
They probably just
They
like, mailed
probably
it to each
just
other or
set it
some
up.
bullshit.
They
yeah.
mailed
But
it.
still, they set up a drug deal.
Dude, it's just crazy hearing about people's like stories on the Silk Web and like how like they'll just randomly get like an envelope with like MDMA in it or some bullshit.
What?
Like that's fucking crazy. Like
I've never
they'll-
heard that before.
Well, like not that they randomly get it, like they actually order it, but they like
Oh.
they just don't know when it's gonna get to them, and then eventually it just shows up.
Yeah, or
Like oh my god.
ordering drugs off the internet doesn't sound very safe at all. Like,
That's
It
terrifying.
sounds safe if you had like your own house. I
yeah,
guess.
if you had your own, I guess.
With
Like, if you lived in an
shotguns.
apartment complex.
But even then,
Fuck
I would
that.
get,
even
like,
even
a
then,
PO
wouldn't
box.
common sense
Exactly.
common sense dictate that since you're putting your address into the recipient box that it's gonna be tracked somewhere?
Maybe.
I don't know. Maybe
I don't
not.
Isn't
know.
that just common sense? You'd think that would be.
Unless you have,
I don't know how they crack down on it. I felt like,
I'm not sure.
from what I understood,
Well, maybe-
Silk Road is actually relatively safe just because of the nature of the transactions were so hushed, you know? And
Well,
because they were using things like Bitcoin and things like that.
How do you know that the dealer on the other side isn't like keeping track of all the addresses he sends stuff to?
Could be.
That's kind of the nature
he might
of
be
what we
just
do
to like
with it.
check up on him,
What would be the point?
Oh well, to eventually
send you a letter and be like, "Hey, do you want more drugs? Remember that one time
Or
where you
maybe-
bought drugs from me? You should do
but-
it again."
Or
but
maybe
the thing, would
blackmail,
having,
maybe
just would
blackmail.
having their
That's not
address
bad.
be sufficient evidence to prosecute someone for drugs, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
I just
Would it?
love thinking
Because
about
because
drugs.
they'd have to have proof that you actually sent them drugs beyond just because again, if let's say all they saw was say like chat logs between you, which I would imagine would get like erased instantaneously given the nature. Again, I've never ordered drugs off Silk Road or
But
something like that,
again,
so.
how can you be sure anything is actually erased on the internet?
How can you be sure anything is
the
real?
guy who ran Alphabet who got busted, he got busted because he was using his old fucking Hotmail account. That's how he got busted. And he was living in like
He was using his personal
He was living
Gmail
in
account.
Thailand, and they got his ass because of his Hotmail account. He used his personal Hotmail account to like send messages to like administrators.
See,
of-
the only way they can't get
Alphabet.
tracked is if you're using an anonymous account.
all you have to do is be in incognito mode, right? And then you're
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
And then the FBI.
You can use
Literally
any
the only
account you want.
Literally, the only thing incognito mode doesn't do is it doesn't save cookies, and it doesn't. I don't think it masks.
browser history.
I don't think it masks anything from you.
It just doesn't
it saves.
save
It
cookies.
doesn't. I think it doesn't.
And it doesn't
add
save your-
anything to
your
website
history.
data or your history or cookies. I
Yeah.
don't know.
But it's
That's one
it's
of my-
all personal stuff.
It is one of
like-
my favorite green texts though, where it's like the teenage hacker, and he talks about how his friend got caught by the FBI because he wasn't using incognito mode. Like, I just love that kind of bullshit.
Well, that wouldn't. They'd still be able to catch him the same way.
Well, yeah, I'm not. Of course.
But that's just funny.
That's
But
just-
they
that's
think,
just
oh,
a funny
incognito
joke.
mode will keep
Yeah.
you from getting arrested. by the
I thought
FBI.
that when I was a kid. I used to use incognito mode like 24/7, just under the guise of like, oh, I'm going on fucking Putlocker. I'm going on one of the other big. Like,
There's a dude-
streaming sites.
There's a dude in my
YouTube. I'm going on YouTube. I'm gonna go on incognito mode.
And
like a
watch-
month ago-
Not allowed on
And I'm gonna
YouTube.
watch a Simpsons episode split into 10-minute segments. It's gonna be awesome.
like a month ago. There was a dude at my work that got fired for looking at porn all the time.
Just on his phone.
And no, on his work computer. when he had free time, he'd just like look at porn.
That fucking blows my mind. Why would you?
I don't
Obviously,
know.
you're pretty fucked in the head if you're doing
He
that at
likes
work.
porn.
Yeah.
He likes looking at titties.
He was
like in porn,
he was
but, like,
he was
doing
like
that work.
from like 2 times
He gets
I
bored.
passed him in the hallway. He just seemed like a guy that just didn't give a fuck. Like I'm like, hey, how's it going? And he's like, and I'm like, okay.
How old is he? An old man?
He was like, I don't know if I had to guess, like 53.
Okay.
Damn.
I don't know.
And getting caught looking at porn.
He's a portly guy.
There's all these like images you can find occasionally where it's like people like taking pictures of the reflections in windows while they're on trains or like airplanes or something.
Oh, yeah.
And just the people watching porn and shit.
There's that one Asian
like,
dude that had a
just
tablet.
blows my mind. People who are just like casually watching porn, like while they're
Just
on
on a crowded subway.
How are you comfortable doing that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
What's the
Let's.
lure?
We should all just do it once, just to like try to see what it's like.
All sit
like
next
it's
to
not
each
like
other on a train while watching porn.
Yeah, not
Maybe
that like
volume.
Maybe
not
that's
that,
what
like,
they're
we really
maybe
want
that's
to
why
do
they
it.
do it is because they're into almost getting caught.
Well, it's like a rush sort of thing.
No,
Yeah.
I was gonna say,
Eric
it's just like
Andre-
people having sex in public, you know, just because like
Yeah.
it's like a fetish or something. To,
Yeah.
Yeah, you know when you walk down the street to Walmart and there's just like people fucking.
Yeah.
That's just what they do.
Eric Andre talks about that because he got a lot of notoriety for on Instagram. He'd like take pictures while he's fully nude with just his dick out, and he says that half the reason he does it is like the rush of it, like holy shit.
Yeah,
like, my-
everyone's
yeah.
gonna see my
That
dick.
everyone's
just
gonna
for-
see my dick.
He,
Yeah,
he
like-
does that just for himself. What are you talking
yeah.
about?
I know he said that in an interview I saw once.
Like
where he
remember
says,
when
like,
we
it's
saw him
also a
live
rush,
and
like,
he
holy
just
shit.
like
Yeah.
he just showed
No,
everyone
but I was
his dick
thinking like the
No,
whole
he didn't.
idea.
like a second.
Oh no, he
Kidding.
did. He did do that.
For like a split second or so.
Yeah, he took his pants down on stage and was like, did he say something like just look at my floppy wiener or something like that?
Yeah, something. He like tucked it in between his legs.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah,
too,
yeah.
And then he turned around.
Yeah, he tucked it in between his legs
Christ.
and then he turned around and yeah, that's.
You saw the unspeakable.
Yep.
And I imagine also smelled the unspeakable.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he wasn't wearing underwear under that morph suit either.
No, he
I'm
probably
pretty sure it was
wasn't.
just the morph suit.
No, but I was saying like the whole idea of like that'd be a perfect Eric Andre subway thing is he hires a bunch of people to go on the subway and then just start watching porn at full volume on their
Yeah.
phones, just sitting there and just like
No, what
casually looking at it like they're doing anything else. Like
Yeah, what if you did that? What if you loaded? What if you knew there was like it was like a really not busy time on the subway?
Yeah.
Like there's just one person in the subway car. So then
Oh.
you send in like 50 people and they all watch porn on full volume, and then you just watch the reaction of this one guy that's not doing it.
that's why I would never.
Do you think
wanna
he would
live-
pull porn on his own phone and start doing that too?
Ooh,
I don't
maybe.
think maybe.
That's why I would never want to live in New York or like Los Angeles or something because there's always going to be a bunch of people like doing bullshit art projects or comedy bits and they're just fucking with people on the street. Like I don't want to risk being the guy who Eric Andre ends up like pouring a bunch of like rotten shit on the subway. You
That's
know?
that'd be a
that
funny
bad.
skit.
Ruin your day.
That'd be a funny skit. Like it's about this guy who just moved to New York City and just when he walks down the street, there's like 50 different YouTube channels doing pranks.
God.
So he's like, "Can I?
It's like
can I get a?"
It's like Skid Row, but instead it's just a bunch of people
He's
doing
just
prank videos.
He goes into Starbucks and like, "Can I get a medium coffee, please?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure, you can get a medium coffee." And he's like, "Oh God!" And then they give him the coffee, and he's like, "There's nothing in this, is there?" And they're like, "No." and then he opens it up, and it's like one of those. It's like the peanut can gag, like a snake pops out of the cup.
yeah,
And they're like they're all like dabbing and shit, and they're like,
Dab on that. Dab on that.
Table's like fucking dancing.
How do you feel, bro?
I want a YouTube prank video where YouTube like they're all trying to prank each other, and it's just like this horrible chain reaction of pranks going down the line. Be
Or-
fantastic.
Yeah, and then at the end somebody gets killed. Like, oh my God.
Wasn't there a guy who like did a prank I'll say, where he like kidnapped his friend and then he pretended that the guy got like beheaded by ISIS or something like that? Something really really
I
fucked
think
up.
that was like Sam Pepper.
Yeah, Sam Pepper
But
did
it
one
was
where
staged.
where it was
Well,
staged.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. They drove him all the way to Syria. And
That'd be hilarious.
He got beheaded by ISIS.
That would be really funny if someone actually did that. I bet that would be pretty funny.
That would be fucking hilarious.
We prank ISIS. Parentheses not clickbait, and then they just fucking die.
And then it's just that video of the black and white like fucking AC-130 thing and just shooting people. ISIS pranked.
ISIS prank.
Gone sexual, and you're just blowing them up.
ISIS kissing prank.
What?
be
No, I
amazing.
can imagine
I
that.
want an international
Hot ISIS
Wait, some
babe.
YouTube person actually goes into like ISIS hostile territory and tries to find an ISIS like there's convoy of ISIS people or something, like a secret base, and like they somehow sneak up onto it, and then they get inside and right as they say the words, "Hey, I'll give you $5 if you kiss me," or something like that, like they just get immediately shot at.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god!
Or they're doing like magic tricks in front of the people from ISIS, like trying to fuck with them. No, but like imagine international incidents starting because of like a YouTube prank channel, like just going to the wrong part of Syria.
One day.
It starts that way.
H3H3 starts World War III. Because they do some prank at the, what's that wall?
Wailing
H3,
Wall.
The Wailing
H3,
Wall?
WW3.
They do some prank at the Wailing Wall, and then Israel declares
Dude,
nuclear war.
It's like a totally new form of terrorism where it's like a comedy act. It's like Andy Kaufman, but he's like a member of ISIS, and he's just fucking blowing shit up.
The ultimate punchline.
Yeah.
It's like the ultimate. It's like the philosophy behind Hellraiser. You know, in Hellraiser, where the dude bought the pain cube
the
just
box.
because he was looking for the ultimate thrill.
Yeah, dude.
And
He's
like,
like sensation-seeking shit. Yeah.
yeah, it's like that, but with comedy. It's the ultimate punchline, wiping out all life on Earth.
All existence.
Wait, wasn't
We
there?
make this rare species of rhinoceros go extinct. And
Actually-
they're like doing a documentary with poachers or some shit. Dude, I want to see more people like spoof Vice-style documentaries because they're like the most easy things in the world to spoof.
Oh, people
like,
spoof
they-
those all the time.
But no, but like I remember Documentary Now. Did you ever watch that show?
Yeah.
With,
I've never
they did
watched it.
They did one of their funniest fucking episodes is where they do a show called Drones, where it's a parody of like Vice, and it's like
Yeah.
one guy is in Syria teaching the rebels how to play Mario Kart. Another guy's undercover at a racist sorority and shit. Like I want to see like a YouTube series where it's just a bunch of fake Vice videos where they're just doing horribly stupid things.
I think like don't a bunch of them die? Don't like
Yeah.
a bunch
There's
of people
a-
like
Like
die
they're
in the
doing a
episode?
story on like a cartel, and they like keep wandering in the cartel infested areas and just getting
Yeah.
murdered.
The Super Deluxe does on Facebook. They do parodies of those videos that are like life hack videos
Yeah.
or like makeup tutorial videos, where it'll be like, I can't think of one right now, but there'd be a video and it'd be like, makeup tutorial, paint your whole face red with lipstick, and it's just like the person just, it's like apply lipstick to your whole face.
Yeah.
It's shit like
Have
that.
you ever seen? I forget if it was Super Deluxe or if it was Clickhole. They did a video. It was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. It was a live stream of this old guy in a room with an armchair, a printer, and a vase. And it was him trying to like steal a vase. But
Oh,
then
yeah.
they would have people like print
Call him?
shit or call in.
No,
to
no, yeah.
prevent him from like getting the vase.
They had people, they had a fax number for the printer, and if you faxed something or called the printer or something, it would print out a message saying, "Don't steal the vase."
Yeah, don't steal the vase. And he would pick up the phone like saying like, "I'm sorry, I'm trying to steal the vase" or some bullshit. And it was like to keep distracting him from stealing it.
That was fucking.
Yeah, Super Dogs is the one that like does all the live shit on
Yeah.
Facebook.
People
Yep.
need to do more of that, like social, like crowd experiment sort of things. I think one of the biggest examples is the like Twitch plays Pokemon sort of thing. Like I want to see more of people doing that kind of shit, just because the mentality of it, you know.
Super Deluxe is weird. Like it just popped up all of a sudden, and now it's like, it's really popular. Like I
think
saw
I-
just people at my college, just like looking at Super
Yes.
Deluxe.
I'm pretty sure it was formed.
Surreal humor.
I'm pretty sure it was
It's
formed by
really
people from Adult Swim, like Tim Heidecker and Eric Wareheim's group,
Yeah.
and like a couple
Well,
people
they're
from
doing
Comedy
Jazz.
Central. What do you mean?
Have you ever seen
Who's
the
doing
YouTube
Jash?
channel Jash?
Who's doing Josh?
like Eric Wareheim, Michael Sarah,
Yeah,
and like
Oh.
yeah.
but no, there's
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
people within that circle of influence that they have,
Yeah,
and I think they formed Super Deluxe.
they might have.
I guess surreal humor is just really on the rise.
Yeah.
Like all these fucking creepy, weird meme pages, and like people like Tim and Eric and Eric. I know like Tim and Eric and Eric Andre have been around for a while, you know, but like
Mhm.
they're only really now starting to become like pretty, especially Eric
Yeah.
Andre
Yeah.
becoming like very established and very popular.
The person who really started
It's
that
crazy.
was like Andy Kaufman.
Yeah, the whole like balls of steel kind of do a
Yeah.
bunch of crazy bullshit in
But
public.
back then, people had no idea what to think of Andy Kaufman because
Because there's nothing like it really.
he would do interviews and just like look really scared. And like when the audience would laugh at something he would say, he'd like look at them and like kind of look sad or something.
And he would like start fights on talk shows and shit and wrestle women and all these
Yeah.
really fucked up weird stuff.
That's
Now I feel like that's just the problem though, is that like people just, it's either the illusion needs to be really well, like you said, like you think Sam Hyde is kind of like a new age Andy Kaufman, you think he hides it really well, but I feel like at some point like it's really hard to hide it, you know, especially in the information age, like you just really can't pull that kind of stuff anymore.
Sam Hyde has done interviews where he's himself, and he explains. He doesn't really say it he doesn't really say that he's
explicitly say that.
He doesn't say he's
all
playing
bullshit.
a character, but he says, "Yeah, we like to intentionally go far just because it's funny to go that far."
Yeah, and that's great.
Like, he
Which is why
doesn't
I'm a
necessarily believe those.
which is why I'm a fan of him. But he has gone too far with some things.
A lot of things.
His Twitter is
I
fucked.
think.
But it's funny that he has gone too far.
Yeah. No, but like
it's not like I'm laughing at the actual message. I'm laughing at the fact that he's
as
saying
much
it.
as I don't like Sam Hyde's like alt-right sort of bullshit, I think the TEDx talk he did is one of the funniest fucking things
oh my
I've ever
God.
seen.
He just
It's
has a cheap
amazing.
Party City Roman soldier outfit.
Because TEDx is a bunch of bullshit, and like he's and he's really just grabbing it by the reins and saying this is a bunch of bullshit in the most hilarious way possible.
He just spouts TED Talk lingo for like 10 minutes.
Think differently. That's basically the fucking TED Talk motto, and it drives me insane. How all TED Talks.
He's
are
done
basically
like
the same thing.
a bunch of other like slideshow stuff too, but just at like smaller events.
The MDE was really, $1 Million Extreme.
Yeah,
Their
MD.
Adult Swim show. That's really fucking funny.
Yeah, but
It's
now
really,
it's
it was really well made, but it got canceled because it was it almost seemed like it was pro-Trump.
Yeah,
But it
that's
wasn't pro or against anything. It was.
They're just basically making fun of everything they could, you know.
Yeah, and
Like I can,
And they
I
didn't
watch
give a
some of it,
shit
and I can
about
see where
being
people are
politically
getting
correct.
that from because they do kind of like, they do have a very sort of reactionary view of some things.
Yeah.
But I mean, fucking so does South Park is incredibly reactionary. So I mean, I don't.
like the thing.
But the thing about
they make fun of everything.
the thing about Sam Hyde and Tim Heidecker does this a lot too, is they play a persona, and it's almost like a characterization of the people they're making fun of.
Yeah.
But the more committed they are to that character and making it seem as if this could be a real person,
The more
makes
people are thinking,
makes it
it's actually
funnier.
Like, oh yeah.
But
yes.
the more confusing it gets, because if you show someone like a clip from someone who's never heard of Tim and Eric before, heard of Tim Heidecker before, you showed them an episode of On Cinema at the Cinema, they would probably take it almost completely straight and think he's a complete asshole.
Like that's what happened with like, not trying to seem normie, but that's what happened to PewDiePie. Like they were like he was making fun of like anti-Semitists and stuff like that.
Oh, later PewDiePie.
And then people thought he was an anti-Semite.
And then people thought because they took it out and like people.
But the thing is, he
But
understood.
that's
He understood
what I'm saying,
it'd
like,
be
the problem
funny.
with the information era is that you can't. It's really hard to blur that line between reality and comedy because either people are going to take it way too seriously or they're not going to take it seriously.
And
enough,
the funniest
you know?
things are like where things seem so real that like you're like
And PewDiePie did that because he knew it'd be funny if PewDiePie was a Nazi.
yeah.
So he just like.
And
I
he
don't
was
actually
also-
know if he said like. Did he
wasn't-
actually say anti-Semitic things? Or
No,
just-
no. The whole
No.
thing was he was like,
He
there's
just
like a
went like
website. I think it's Fiverr, where you pay people $5 to do stuff for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is like, oh, it's like Tyrone style things where they'll just read text off. And one of them was like people in some third world country, and like I don't know where the fuck, and they're just like reading like "gas the Jews" or some bullshit
yeah.
off of signs.
No, it's
and
like-
he got a lot of shit for it. But I think,
Yeah.
but the
MDE
if you actually
does
watch
that
the
a lot.
video, if you watch the video, he's kind of making fun of both. Obviously, the shit he's saying because he knows it's ridiculous, but also like how ridiculous this whole thing is that you can pay people to say this horrible shit
Yeah.
and they'll just go for it because they need the money.
MDE actually does that a lot. Haven't you seen like those videos of people like I don't know, like indigenous people
Oh yeah, those
And
are on
stuff.
4chan threads.
and they just
all
say
the time.
random shit. They're just like
Where it's
I
like
can't
where it's like a
remember.
bunch of like it's like a bunch of little kids like getting learned to like recite OP as a faggot or something.
Yeah.
Like right off a chalkboard.
And that
OP
that's
is a faggot.
that's really weird. That's really weird because it's like they're not in a building. They're just out in the
they're
in
just
the
out
woods.
in the fucking woods.
There's just desks and a chalkboard in the woods.
Just dancing or...
That scares me though. That
It's
like
kind of creepy.
yeah. That you can
It's
just
like,
exploit
what-
people like that.
Do these people actually go to school here? Like that's what scares me about it. Like,
But think about it from
there's
their
no building.
perspective, though. Like, I don't want to say rich, but like well-off white people are going to your country
Wow.
and paying you money, probably a lot of money, relative to you. Like,
Yeah,
to
$5
dance-
might be a lot to them, but might be a lot to them.
$5, that's
to
a
just
week's of
read
food.
off a bunch of bullshit. Like,
dance like
that
a
must
monkey.
be so surreal to them if you think about it. Like, I mean, that's crazy.
I
Like
don't know.
$5,
Just for humor.
you can get so much food for $5.
Yeah, rice is dirt cheap. Eggs are so fucking cheap now.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. It's like 57 cents for
Like,
like 18 eggs.
Think of how long you could live off that. Just of saying
off of eggs.
no, well, no, off
Probably
of
not very
$5.
long.
Like
$5 in a developing country. Oh yeah.
yeah,
Like I heard that's the way. Like in a lot of Southeast Asian countries, like you can get like
for like
an insane high portioned meals.
Like what,
For, like
10
dirt cheap. Not even $10.
10 minutes of work.
Yeah.
Like
That ain't nothing. That's hilarious. Well, not 10 minutes of work in that country. Probably 10 minutes of work gets like $1.
yeah,
Well, no, not
no,
$1.
but like for the $5 thing, like
Yeah. That's nothing. That's fucking hilarious to me. Oh,
that,
God.
that probably helps those people a lot.
it does.
actually.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Is
I
it
really
helps
want to
them
know
a
how
shit
much
ton.
money Tyrone has made since like doing like all that bullshit.
Probably a lot of money.
Yeah, because it's so easy if you think about it. Like all you're doing is reading off of a script, and you don't
Yeah.
even have to like really act. You're just a lot of people are paying to like hear it read off in like a monotone sort of way. I bet. So, yeah, that's pretty weird. God, humor is just so surreal now. It's kind of scary.
Humor is fun.
But we're just.
I want to
getting
set
into-
up a $5. I know what I can set up a $5 for, but I'm not
What?
going to say it because
Somebody's gonna steal the idea.
someone's
steal
going to
it.
steal it. They probably already made it though.
But what is it?
They
Just
probably
say it.
already did.
I'm just gonna like make a $5 where send me anything and I'll fucking distort it out of proportion.
Yeah.
What, like a video file? Or?
No, like
Anything.
an audio file.
Oh.
No, like literally anything.
Like
Like
any,
that
I can do it
animator.
for anything.
I'm gonna send you a shitty CRT TV. You're gonna make like a horrible monstrosity art project out of it.
Yes. Yes.
What about a $5 where pay me $5 and I'll give you $2.50?
I think actually pretty. Yeah.
I could see people actually doing that just for like the laugh.
I think it'd only be funny the first time.
And they mail you all of the
It's like, oh
$2.50
shit,
and pennies.
that's funny.
No, what
I
would
can see it.
what would be interesting? Give me $5 and I'll send you the equivalent of $2.50 American money in a foreign country's money.
Oh, yeah.
Then that would actually make sense.
My dad would like that. Nice foreign currency.
You send them Monopoly money. You like $5 worth.
$5 in real money.
$5
for
worth of
$5
paper in Monopoly money,
Yeah.
or
I'll
$2.
convert your money to Monopoly money.
I'll convert your $5 to 6 trillion Zimbabwean dollars.
Or
for
pay
you.
me $5 and I'll set up a $5 account for you.
That's just a chain.
Give me $5 and I'll throw it in the trash.
That's great though. I love that idea. Just like something like things like Etsy and things like that, where you're just paying people just simple amounts of money to do just random bullshit or make random crafts for you and things like that. Like the idea of the internet as like this sort of weird, like this eccentric commune of people providing goods to each other, but it's all just random BS. I like it.
Like you could set up a $5 to try and make your life a living hell. Just like pay $5 to set off my alarm. So,
I'll
like-
pay someone $5
Just like your
to
life
be
just
my
gets
alarm clock
progressively
for one
worse
day,
and worse.
It's like
or be like
pay
a
me
body man
$5
for
and I
one
have
day.
to take a shot. It's like
Oh my god, that'd be awesome. that'd be.
That's an easy way.
Why haven't more people done that? Like Twitch
probably a
streams
bunch of
of binge
people.
drinking, where every time you donate X amount of money, they take a shot.
Fucking die.
That would be horrible, but you know, I would imagine some frat boys would do it. Some tech savvy frat kids.
$5 and I'll take a shot, just like
Oh, yeah.
any time of the day. That would be hell.
All right, I'm gonna go on Fiverr, and I'm gonna just find some random shit. I'm gonna go to fun and lifestyle.
The binge drinking idea would be perfect for Shoe Nice.
Yeah.
Shoe Nice.
Shoe Nice.
Fucking
Shoe Nice is this dude that just he
Shoe Nice is
used
fucking-
to. I don't know if he still does it
He gets so
anymore.
much money.
I think he quit drinking recently, but he has
Wasn't he homeless?
he has tons of videos of him slamming entire bottles of liquor.
Like a whole handle
A
of
whole-
Jack Daniels.
Holy
Yeah.
fuck.
And
He-
one go.
Yeah, he doesn't let up. He just goes. the whole
Oh
thing in one go.
yeah, I've
But
seen
he
those.
did
pours it down his throat.
he did an entire handle of fucking Everclear
Oh
one
my
time.
god,
Yeah.
dude. Alright, so I went on Fiverr, and they have a ton of categories for like what you're looking for, so I went to spiritual and healing. So, cut cords of attachment with someone for $5. Remove spirits, demons, and curses for $5.
So do nothing, $5.
Connect with an archangel to heal. Remove all curses for you, which will enable you to live the life you want.
God, most of this is like
Holy fuck.
I'll literally do nothing if you give me $5.
Cast spell to make someone fall in love with you spell.
I'll make you a baked potato for $5.
It's fucking hilarious.
You won't. I won't
That
give it
was
to
a
you,
thing
but I'll
on,
make it for you.
I'll make
That
it
was
for
a thing
you.
on
I'll make it in
Kickstarter,
your
wasn't
name.
it? Like, make potato salad, and the guy
Yeah.
had like $10,000.
Yeah, that was the first Kickstarter thing that was like, oh my god, I can't believe it makes so much money.
He's so funny. He made potato salad. He wanted money for
it makes me
potato
so-
salad.
And then he had
buy it.
he had an epic potato salad fest that like 2 people went to.
Play Overwatch with
all
you,
the money he got.
Xbox only se habla español. That's what it says. I'm on the gaming section now. Provide a winning
Oh, there's-
DFS lineup for FanDuel or DraftKings.
There's a bunch
Just
of them.
make your fantasy team for
There's
you.
a bunch of them on there in the gaming section for it's like a pretty girl and she's like, I'll play a video game with you for $5.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah,
Play Overwatch and Xbox One.
See,
$5.
exactly.
That's amazing.
it's
Yeah,
like
dude, and there's more of them. Look.
Yeah.
it's like there's an
fucking
option.
hilarious.
There's an option now for girls. They don't have to just strip naked on camera for money on the internet.
Help
now.
you construct the best
Now you can
Magic
just play
the
a video
Gathering
game with
deck
somebody.
for $5. That's
No.
fucking amazing.
Construct a magic deck.
Yeah, for $5.
That's kind
Help
of
or
cool.
help you do it. Consulting work.
Yeah.
There's a lot of this for like consulting for like fantasy sports and stuff like that.
Yeah.
This is so weird. Oh my god, I got
Give me $5 and I'll give you a $5.
I have to go to the pranks and stunts section. I want to see what we got here. Do any challenge just for you.
What?
That's what it says.
Do any
challenge just for you.
Okay, what if you challenge them not to complete the challenge?
Paradox. Make
Then
a
they
gay
fail.
prank video, comma, be your boyfriend, etc. Jesus
Oh.
Christ. God, people are so fucking desperate.
Give me $5 and I'll punch you. I'll find you,
Dude,
and I'll punch
all of
you.
these are like, do all the challenge you want. Like, these are
Yeah.
so weird.
Just do anything.
Is there
Give
any
me $5
$5 and
and
I'll
then-
take a shot?
Or like
find one.
reverse it,
$5
like
and I'll give myself a shot.
Take a pie in the
give me
face.
$5 and then you
Do
can do
random
something.
stuffs in a
Yeah.
Cookie Monster onesie.
So it's like you're just giving them money.
Give me $5 and you can complete a challenge I give you.
Yeah,
Give
yeah.
me $5 and I'll give you $5.
Give me five. I want to give someone $5 to like slash another person's.
Give me
tire. Why
$5 and I'll
can't I
give
do
you
that?
$10. Everybody would give you $5, but then you never send out the money,
This is so
and you just
fucking
completely
weird.
fraud.
Give
You're
me
a fraudulent-
$5 and I'll call your
Give
mom
me
for you
$5
and ask her
like
how she's
fucking
doing.
SpongeBob.
Celebrity impersonators. Oh my god, this is exactly what I need. Have Jesus say anything you want in a video.
Jesus? Jesus himself?
Jesus has a $5, dude.
Dude, it's Jesus' second coming, but he can only he can only communicate through Skype
Skype and 4chan. It's like
and
the
4chan. Skype and 4chan, the two of the most what? Why 4chan?
There's a ton of Donald Trump ones.
Does he get his own board on 4chan?
Yeah, dude. Fucking John the, Revelation guy gives him a 4chan account.
John the Revelation guy. He's the one that wrote down the words and stuff. I don't know.
This one that, predicted, like, the end of the world.
What a nerd. Can you imagine how big those nerds were that wrote the Bible?
Yeah, dude.
was a
They
whole
must have been
council.
some fucking.
What a bunch of
They're
nerds.
probably
Yeah.
really influenced by, like, fantasy.
They had to have been nerds
They
because
did. One of the books that was cut from the Bible has baby Jesus fighting a fucking dragon.
what?
I shit you not. So when they made
Wait,
the
I want
Bible-
to read this DLC.
So the thing is that the Bible was they wrote a ton of
Is
books
this
for the
canon?
Bible, but then they Then they had
It's a
councils.
fanfic.
So there's the Council of Trent, there's the Council of Nicaea, I think there's a couple of other ones, where they basically decided what books would be in the Bible. And a lot of people have interpreted this as like a sort of way to make Christianity as like a tool for the powerful to like rule over the powerless and things like that by choosing. And one of the books that's rejected from the Bible is one about Jesus fighting a fucking dragon.
God, I hate
It's
when
ridiculous.
I hate when they go back and just make a remastered version of their own old game.
I know,
So
it's
stupid.
George Lucas
Like,
goes back and remasters the Bible.
So wait,
I'd read
is
I would
Jesus
read that
fighting
Shit out of that.
is Jesus fighting the dragon actually canon technically? Then
Who the fuck knows?
and Jesus in Christianity lore.
I don't know, it's some spin-off.
Ask God.
It's a fan.
Speaking of George Lucas, I watched this like behind the scenes stuff of him making episode 1, and it was horrifying to watch him think that all the ideas and the thing he came up with that worked on paper for him would work in the movie and they show footage of him watching the movie for the first time. And like looking at his face, it's like Arrested Development. Like I've made a huge mistake.
I really
like,
feel
he's
like
he says the first thing he says after like watching some test footage is like, I went too far.
what
Like,
probably
I went
happened.
way too far with some shit.
What probably happened with the whole prequel situation was George Lucas was starting to see like his profit from merchandise sales kind of start to level out. He saw it was getting toward the year 2000. So what he did was he just went around to people and with his Hollywood buddies just started bullshitting and be like, yeah, I'm just going to make new Star Wars. Oh, really? What's it going to be about? It's going to be a prequel about Darth Vader's past. And they're like, oh, okay, cool. How far are you on it? And he's like, oh, I'm almost done with the script. And like he hasn't written anything. He's just bullshitting.
Just making it up on the spot.
I just think it's hilarious. My dad, Phantom Menace is one of his favorite Star Wars movies. This comes from a guy who like grew up in the 70s when like those movies were the shit.
That's unfortunate.
I don't know. He just really likes it. I don't get it. I told him it's a bad movie, and he's like, I like it. You know, I guess there's something liberating about that.
If those were the only Star Wars movies, and they still came out at the same time, and they were the only Star Wars movies, I think they'd just be fine. I think
they're average, forgettable.
I think they definitely have a big cult following.
Yeah.
But I think it'd just be fine.
I heard people said the Hobbit movie is really dog shit, but I haven't seen any of those. So. Like they were
they're
bad. Like
def-
the first
they're-
one was like okay, and then the other two were dog
Their
shit.
quality is far below the Lord of the Rings, but
It's like I heard something about
it's a
like,
better situation than the prequels with Star Wars.
They're
But
not that
See,
bad.
the third one is still really fucking bad.
the third one, Revenge of the Sith.
No, the third Hobbit movie.
Oh,
I don't.
I
think
really
I
didn't
watched
like
we
it.
saw in IMAX.
Yeah, the Battle of the Five Armies.
Yeah,
Dude,
I mean,
I
it
don't know.
looked cool, but that's
The
it.
thing is that like in
yeah.
terms of the prequels, the one I actually least like is Attack of the Clones.
Yeah,
And the
I
only fucking reason is Anakin. Like I can't barely watch
Well,
any of the scenes. The scenes in
there's not-
Naboo,
there's-
the scenes on Tatooine, all
Yeah.
this fucking meme lines that he says.
the
It's
the
ridiculous.
Padme block of scenes are really weak.
Oh my god, it's fucking horrifying. Like,
But when you watch
all
the-
the Jango Fett shit is so cool. The seismic charges and the fucking asteroids and
I
the
actually-
fucking clone troopers.
I really like the
It's
action.
hype as shit.
I really like the action sequences in the prequel movies, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're really well done.
But that's all that's well done
yeah.
because that can just easily be figured out on a computer and flipped
Yeah.
around. But if you watch the behind-the-scenes footage of George Lucas and everybody making this movie, you can totally get the vibe of like, just do what the boss says. Just do what the boss says.
Yeah.
Don't question him.
Yeah.
Don't make him feel bad. Just do what the boss says.
Because he's got all the money. Because he was smart enough to get all
and
the
he has
merchandising.
he already has a big reputation for the original movies. So
Yeah,
they're
exactly.
probably
So-
at the most optimistic people were probably just trusting
yeah.
his vision.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like, because he only directed like the first. He directed New Hope, but he didn't
Yeah.
even like. I mean, obviously, he was a producer for all the movies, and he wrote a big part of it. But like,
You know.
Empire Strikes Back, which is widely considered the best Star Wars movie,
Wasn't directed by him.
wasn't directed by him. That was
And it wasn't. It was
Irving
barely.
Kershner.
It was really barely written by him too.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I mean, it's his baby,
but it's because
it went to his head. Like
before
very clearly.
before A New Hope, George Lucas was the guy with the idea, and he had an idea for the aesthetic, and he really liked making all of the models and all the sets and all the costume. He liked all the visual
He is a
stuff.
big special effects guy. I
He
think
said-
he just knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he said time and again in interviews that he's a very visual
yeah.
director.
But even then, he
But-
says that shit like special effects. Like, you can't just have a special effect. You need to have something to go along with it. You know.
Yeah.
That's and then it's one of my favorite Red Letter Media things, where it's that interview and then it immediately cuts to really hokey ass special effects from Phantom Menace with like no point or some bullshit.
Yeah, or just Jar Jar.
Yeah, or just Jar Jar.
Well,
I love all the behind the scenes footage of Phantom Menace.
Yeah, what happened
black
with
dude with the fucking mocap shit on for Jar Jar? He looks so out of place.
the reason the original trilogy was put together well was because everybody around George Lucas was really good and knowledgeable, and George Lucas was smart enough back then and humble enough to not, throw his weight around.
No, his company, the Industrial Light and Magic, the people who do all his effects, they have some damn good people who work for that.
Dude.
The guys who made Photoshop were on that team.
Yeah.
No, that in
ILM,
ILM,
the brothers who made Photoshop.
Industrial Light and Magic is probably one of the best special effects studios out there.
Yeah, because it also has a ton of funding too. I think it's a
They're
big
on
part of
Disney,
it.
right?
Now they are.
Now they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah,
they were a subsidiary of Lucasfilm, so I figured,
Oh.
and they bought Lucasfilm, so yeah, I figured.
Hmm.
Did you see the thing about Disney? They're like taking they had like a deal with Netflix to put a lot of their movies on Netflix and stuff, a lot of their newer releases and shows, and now they're leaving Netflix and want to do their own streaming service.
I just saw that before I left.
Fuck capitalism, dude. It's bullshit. Again, this is what I was talking about earlier. Streaming sites are bullshit because you need to have a ton of subscriptions to be able to watch a decent amount of content that you want to watch. Everything is so fucking spread out across everything that you can't even...
It's like, yeah,
drives
you
me
can
nuts.
do that, or you just torrent it. Like,
Yeah, or you just
That's
torrent
the
it.
thing,
So,
what-
like,
what
what are you
really
gonna
caused
do?
that?
Pay a couple bucks a month for a VPN and just torrent it? Or fucking
pay for
buy
a million
ton of money for subscriptions?
I
It's
feel like
probably
what
better than like a network, just like cable service.
Yeah, it is. I honestly, cord cutting is the way to go, and I can't even imagine like having cable shit. Because what the fuck am I gonna do with it? Like, I have news apps and stuff. I find a lot of my news on the internet. I don't need fucking TV news. I don't watch sports a lot, and if I do, there's a ton of places where you can just watch streams and things like that.
I think
For
how that
nothing,
happened. I think how that happened was cable was so cable as such an infrastructure, and they were so big. They were incredibly short-sighted about how advantageous Netflix was and their streaming service was.
Yeah.
What cable could have done was right when Netflix started getting popular, they could have said, "Okay, this cable provider does their own streaming service and their own streaming service,
Yeah.
stuff like that," and that would have been fine. But they didn't. I don't think they wanted to deal with changing the whole
Because
system.
it's cronyism, dude. That's
Yeah.
what all it is.
Because
Telecom companies are fucked.
People-
They're absolutely fucked.
People will always stick with what's comfortable.
And they're super corrupt.
And what
they're
they
just,
know.
They all they want to do is just throttle everything and restrict all the fucking content you get.
What would be
Super
amazing?
bullshit.
What would be amazing would be like just being able to pay for a streaming service that you can hook up to your TV if you want. You can just sit on your computer and watch if you want,
Yeah.
and then be able to just select which shows you want to
Yeah.
watch,
Well,
or at least which
block of things?
which
I'm not gonna.
in blocks of things. Like
Yeah.
you could have the action package, you could have the comedy package,
Yeah.
you could have the fucking sports package.
But that also conflicts with the idea of net neutrality, because there's a thing about that if net neutrality was to truly go away, people like made all these mock things for it, and one of them was like advertisements for Comcast, where you had to like pay a flat rate to get certain. Like, the problem is when that idea spills over into the internet, and you have to pay money
Pay
just
for
to go on
specific
certain
websites.
and that's fucked.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
That is absolute bullshit.
Yeah.
I think
And that's the problem with telecoms. Like, is they can have such a monopoly on TV, and then we just fucking allow them to encroach on the internet because we want to watch more bullshit.
Well, I think websites and everything that is directly on the internet should be free to access,
Yeah. Totally.
But when it comes to content that people make, I think it should be up to the creator what they want, what service they want to go through to kind
because
of...
they got to make money too. I don't blame them. You know?
Because we should be able to just pay for whatever content we want to watch.
Yeah.
It's stupid to have to pay for something and have a bunch of extraneous shit that bumps up the price
Oh, yeah.
if you only want one specific thing.
I actually wonder, like, where a lot of like what the bulk of Netflix's costs go into. Like, when I'm paying a subscription, what portion of that money is actually going into like upkeep for Netflix, like keeping their servers up, and like, or this is for going towards like licenses and things like that, And I think also it would be really interesting if Netflix had a sort of like crowdfunding thing where people could donate money in to like help fund
Like
Netflix
PBS?
original stuff. What?
Like PBS or something?
I don't. Well, not like PBS because PBS gets government funding, but I mean like. You know what I mean? Like they can crowdfund Netflix original movies, or they can submit ideas or something like that.
There should really be more companies out there that are geared toward funding like independent film or
Yeah.
just like independent creative projects. Because there's a lot more than there used to be like 5 years ago, but there still should be more. Because with how open the internet is, you can literally just upload your movie to YouTube if you want.
Yeah.
It's just the matter of getting people to watch it,
Yeah.
and that's or funding it, I guess.
Yeah.
But there should be more companies that are geared toward helping out independent projects, because there's so many quality independent projects online right now that are just, they have no attachment to anything.
Yeah, but those are always bogged down because with every quality independent project, there's probably like 5 or 6 dog shit quality products that are terrible.
That's true.
I.e., horror movies on Netflix, like, you know, shit like that. You know, no one wants to. I don't think people they don't want to go for an investment that they just do not think is going to work. You know, they have to make money at the end of the day. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, I obviously the idea, you can appreciate the idea of it and wanting to have an outlet for independent filmmakers and things like that. But I mean, again,
No, I feel like that could...
like professional filmmaking equipment costs a shitload of money.
That's true.
Well,
And it's
yeah.
like doing all these things.
But I
is gonna
think-
cost a shitload of money.
I think what for a production company and for a funding, company, what speaks to how well the product is going to do is the reputation of the person's work before
Yeah.
that.
And
So there would probably be like a tiered system where there'd be this company that's really low scale, low budget, just so that you can start out doing that,
Yeah.
and then you work your way up through like the different
Like Scientology.
companies. Like Scientology, you just keep throwing money in, and they give you new
And they-
pamphlets and new books
And you
that
become
are just
higher
filled
up.
with nonsense.
Yeah.
And you become
And
more
then you
enlightened.
get to torture all the subordinates. It's awesome.
Yeah, and if somebody tries to leave, you just threaten to kill their family.
There was a comedy that I saw. I think it was.
I'm just gonna kill your wife. Don't worry.
I
dude.
think it was
It's
Sarah
fine.
Silverman. How she said that the only reason people don't like Scientology is because it's new and they just don't get it.
Did she say that?
Yeah.
When did-
No. But like, I mean, it was a comedy bit.
Oh,
but it was
okay,
like,
okay.
it was like, and that's why people don't get it. And she actually kind of makes sense in a way. Like, yeah, we find it weird that a guy named L. Ron Hubbard would come up with a religion. It just seems kind of weird. But I imagine people thought a guy named Jesus Christ or Muhammad or something like that. They also probably thought he was a little weird at the time.
Mhm.
Like it's not that crazy. But
It's
obviously,
not that crazy that someone would create a religion.
I mean, I don't really have a problem with Scientology, but I do have a problem
It
with
is-
the Church of Scientology. It's the institution of it that's
Yeah.
fucked.
Yeah.
Well, I don't really believe that Scientology was any sort of actual belief system by
Oh,
L.
I
Ron
think
Hubbard.
it was. I mean, I think
I think
it's
it was
a
all
bunch of
constructed.
bullshit. But I mean,
Yeah.
I'm pretty. I'm of the belief that people can believe whatever the fuck they
Well,
want
yeah,
to. and
you
it
can
doesn't
believe
matter.
in Scientology if you want.
Just don't give them
Please
money.
don't
But yeah, but
give
don't,
any money to the
but
Church
don't
of
give any money to
Scientology.
the Church of Scientology.
That's
So,
all you need to
Like
do.
that's the problem that people have with religion. It's not. I don't have any problem
But
with
then-
religion. I have a problem with the institution
the
of
thing with
religion
a
that
lot
lets
of, like-
people lets priests get away with molesting kids or like
Yeah.
lets people like torture other people for
But then
for
also,
power
like,
trips and shit.
with a lot of Christian churches, they do give to charities and
Yeah.
all that sort of stuff. So they actually do good stuff with the money they
I
get.
hate those huge churches where they have
Fucking
it's like
Starbucks.
it's like
Eaglebrook.
yes, they have an
Eaglebrook, the cult of personality.
they have a huge
Eaglebrook.
convention center, and they have a dude with like one of those wireless microphones on
Yeah.
his ears, and he's like, "Okay, are you guys ready to learn about
Yeah.
Jesus?" And
Yeah,
then the
like-
rock music starts
Yeah.
playing.
Eaglebrook, like they
Yeah,
usually have
exactly.
like one priest, for like a couple churches, and then like the preacher will like go to a different church every week, and like he'll be there at one church, and he'll be like on like a screen at the other church.
Oh, like
Yeah,
live streaming and
yeah.
shit.
How do you go to one of those churches and feel like
You actually
know,
belong, or like the message is reaching you when he's broadcasting. to
yeah?
hundreds of
How do you
people.
sit in a crowd with like 5,000 other people,
We're fucking idiots.
like
I
50,000
mean,
other
that's
people?
that's what televangelism is.
Yeah.
Like I mean, it's a bunch
Yeah.
of people
Oh,
It's weird
Does
people on TV broadcasting out, and people just give them fucking money.
And you know why? And you know why they have?
houses and, like,
They're
cars,
dumb.
You know why they have big? One reason they have those big audiences there, and they broadcast and on TV, and they always show like the audience reaction and shit,
yeah.
is so that it gives a sort of like legitimacy to what you're
What
seeing.
they're doing,
Because
yeah.
if you're an old lady just flipping through channels and you see some guy talking about Jesus, and then he's really excited, and the people in the audience are really excited, and there's a lot of people in the audience, you're like, oh my god, a lot of people actually
Look at
listen
all
to
these
this guy.
excited people.
So I'm going to listen to him too, just because of a lot of other people
He's gotta
apparently
be right,
do.
You know, I mean, these people are cheering for him after all.
Yeah, and you're an old lady, so your brain kind of pooping out, and
Yeah.
you don't put that much
Oh
effort
my
into
God.
thinking.
Just
Because you're a
the
stupid
idea
old
of
bat.
how-
Who's that one dude that like has the giant buckets of food or some shit?
Colonel Sanders?
No,
Sanders, yeah.
there's like this dude and he sells like these giant buckets of fucking like soup and shit, and he's
Oh, I think
like,
I know what
you
you're
gotta
talking about.
prepare for the apocalypse.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
The fucking
Well, I mean, that's
Like-
what, like just the idea of using weird religious fervor to sell your
God's
bullshit is
gonna
so
come
fucked.
down.
Like Alex Jones too, like
Yeah.
selling all
Yeah.
those like dietary
Yeah.
supplements. And
I'm pretty sure Alex
Chinese
Jones was
food.
on Alex
show,
Jones'
like,
show
where
where
he fucking-
he was on InfoWars
That's
or
amazing.
vice versa.
Isn't that kind of scary though? How like people can make a bunch of money out of duping old senile people.
God.
Really
Yeah.
fucked up. And that those old senile people
Well-
will just start to believe whatever you want them to believe.
Like again, weren't we talking about like the IRA, fucking
The IRA.
fucking Irish
IRS.
people
IRS
who
people?
break your hands
Yeah.
if you steal cars and
No,
shit.
like
The IRS.
there's a bunch of like IRS scammers, and like
Yeah.
there's a bunch of old ladies
and
that get
they're
into
probably
that
making
shit.
the bulk of their money because it's old people who don't
Yeah.
know
And
it's-
what the fuck's going on.
It's easy.
It actually happened to my great grandma.
Oh,
One of my
shit.
fucking cousins had to like help her out and like, bring this person to
Fucking
court.
crazy.
Yeah.
I know. I'm scared when I become an old person and technology will get the better of me. I think it's going to be inevitable that
See-
whatever the technology kids are using when
What
I'm
if
in my 70s
you be-
is
you
going to be
either
just
become,
fucking
like-
crazy,
Yeah.
and I'm not going to be able to understand
What if-
the scammers of the future.
What if next year we just discover, oh, technology doesn't go any further?
Oh, just stop.
Yeah, and like,
Yeah.
Just a brick
oh,
wall.
we
You
can't do anything
well-
else. We've done everything.
Like theoretically, isn't there going to be a limit?
I fucking
guess.
love that idea.
Like, cause there is a limit to physics. There is like the
Yeah, there is gonna
speed
be
of
a
light.
limit.
There's
If-
the speed of light.
if we're around long enough to innovate that
Yeah.
much.
Isn't that, I've heard
That's the
something
thing.
about like
is nothing can be 100%
transistors,
efficient either.
That like transistors are starting to flatline, sort of.
Yeah.
Like in terms of their ability to do something.
Like
I don't
laws
know,
of
I'm not a fucking tech
thermodynamics,
person. I don't
like
know.
those exist, and
Yeah.
there's nothing you can change about that. You can't just like make a
Yeah.
device and say, "Oh, the laws of thermodynamics
Yeah,
don't
but
work."
then- But
10
then all you have to
meter
do is
radius
just
now.
change the law of thermodynamics. It's like the Futurama episode where they find out they can travel fast. They literally just change the speed of light so that they can travel faster than the speed of light or some bullshit like that. And they
Yeah,
make
but-
engines that can produce more energy than you put into them or some bullshit.
Yeah.
What's the Dune? That's the movie where the spaceships don't move; they move the space in
Yeah,
front
they
of them.
fold space.
Yeah,
like
With
warp
the
drive.
Spice Milan.
There,
Whoa.
that is.
I love that movie. And
Warp
the,
Drive
just the opening
is
where it's the
theoretically
chick
possible.
just
Dune.
talking.
yeah. No, Dune is a bad movie.
Yeah, it's
I'm just gonna
terrible,
say
but,
it.
like, I love
It's
the
David
opening
Lynch's
scene to it.
worst movie by far.
I love seeing Patrick Stewart in that movie before he was Picard. And
Yeah,
it's just really
He's
weird
in that movie.
doing like.
And Agent Cooper's the
Yeah,
main
he's
character
in
in that movie.
Um,
Kyle
controls the
MacLachlan.
spikes, controls the universe, and the fucking fat dude with all the fucking horrible
I mean-
lesions on his face.
I would still actually recommend Dune, but just know that it's
I wouldn't.
you can
Not
get
his
bored
best
by
work.
it. But the visuals are very interesting to look at.
If you start watching Dune, you might as well just watch Crawl at that point.
If you
Just
look
watch
at it,
shit
if you
science
look at it
fiction
one
movies.
scene at a time,
Yeah.
it's pretty interesting. I'm gonna say, but
Did I tell you they had Troll
you can't
2?
follow it for shit.
They had Troll 2 on it, the TV in my break room at work. I thought
Troll
it was really
2?
funny, yeah. And I didn't really get it. And then I remember it was at the scene where they're about to eat the food. And if they eat the food, they'll turn into plant
Plants.
matter.
Yeah.
And then the time stops, and then the kid pisses on all their food. And my coworkers are looking at that, having no idea what the fuck this is. Going like, what the fuck is this bullshit? Like, what is this movie?
and you're sitting there like, they're gonna turn into plants if
Yeah.
they eat it, dude.
And I was,
Don't you
no, and I was-
understand?
and I was sitting there because it was like me and like one other person there who knew what it was, and we're like, "Yeah, this is fucking awesome that they have this movie on." And then the very next scene is the one where it's the guy they're watching this like Italian movie, and it's a fucking chimp who touches this golden egg, and then he flies up in the air with a rocket shooting out of his ass.
What?
It's like the most random thing ever. It's from this movie called Grunt. and it's like this short Italian film with a bunch of cavemen and shit, and that's the scene right after the pissing scene, and it's totally out of context, and everyone's looking at that screen just going, what the fuck is going on?
I want
Great.
I want somebody to take Troll 2 and The Room and splice them together to make the ultimate bad movie.
I really want to see that disaster artist movie with James Franco and Seth Rogen. That looks like it's gonna be really, really fucking good.
Well, Tommy Wiseau and the dude who made Troll 2 should just make a movie together.
Oh yeah. I really want to see.
I want to see some producer get really excited in front of them and get them together in a room and get them together in the room and be like, yo, you guys, I really like your work. I know there's a lot of people out there who don't just understand it, who don't appreciate it, but I do. I'm going to give you guys money, and I want you guys to work together and make the best movie ever. And I want to see what comes out of that.
Like, that's honestly what billionaires should do. They should just start giving money
if I was
to
a billionaire,
totally shit filmmakers.
That's what I would do if I was a billionaire. I'd take people from the team that made The Room and from the team that made Troll 2 and be like, I really like you guys. You guys got to make the best movie ever. Because if you tell them, I know your guys' movies suck, you should make me a bad movie and it'll be funny. If you tell them that, then there'll be no entertainment value.
Take the money and run.
You have to be like, make the best movie ever. Yeah. Make something we've never seen before.
Yeah.
That's probably what Kuso was, dude.
Because when they were making those movies, I'm sure they were totally convinced that they were making good movies.
Oh yeah.
No, they were.
Well, who knows?
They were putting their heart and soul
I've heard conflicting reports.
I know for Troll 2 that's how it happened.
I know there are conflicting reports about The Room where people said Tommy Wiseau did it as like a scheme sort of to get money from people.
I can totally see that for The Room, but I know for Troll 2 they were saying there's actually a documentary about it.
Best worst movie, yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they said they thought they were making a good movie.
Yeah.
So
probably they made it in the fucking like 80s or something.
But that's what makes it so funny to watch is because
qualities were a lot lower then, yeah.
It's because you can kind of see the decisions they made and why they thought it would work.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't. It's different. It's different from people because I've seen movies where they try to make it a bad movie intentionally. Kung Fury, and it just does not work.
Fuck Kung Fury, that movie sucks.
It doesn't work because they're like, "Whoa, this is just a shitty movie. Wouldn't it be wacky if we threw a dinosaur in there and Vikings and stuff?" But it's funnier to see somebody actually try to fit those elements. Actually fit those elements into a story.
It's funnier to see someone try as hard as they can and then fail than to see someone try to fail.
Yeah,
exactly.
Because you just can't capture the magic of just things just going wrong.
I mean, I think the best example of that, of making really shitty movies, but like actually kind of like putting a lot of heart into it, is like ultra budget Ugandan like action films and shit.
Yeah,
like those are some of the funniest things in the world to watch, but thinking that they probably thought they were making awesome
no sense.
Well, with that movie, Who Killed Captain Alex?
Yeah.
Like, I think I would get more of a kick out of it if it actually had more of a production value.
Well, yeah.
Because I think that the production value just makes me see it as just some YouTube video.
Yeah. I think it's actually kind of funny, like, watching bad movies that have good production value in a way, like kind of how they fucked up this bad. But I do love watching these. There's something about, I wish there were more like ultra budget things like that. Obviously they're not going to break the mold of being an independent movie, but like people coming up with really creative ways to like film shit. Like, have you ever seen the movie Be Kind, Rewind?
Yeah.
Where it's Jack Black and Mos Def, and they have to like remake a bunch of old VHS movies, and they actually like do a bunch of really kind of crafty stuff to make their shitty special effects. I want to see people do more of that. I think that'd be really, really cool.
I think actual people,
like a $0 movie.
I think actual people in their situation, once they saw that the store's VHSs were gone, I think I just quit.
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't try to remake all the movies, but it's funny.
That's what's funny about the movie. It's like the normal thing to do is to quit, but they actually try to like fucking remake them.
One of the best movies I've ever seen is American Movie, which is this dude, Mark Borchardt, making this movie called Coven, and it's fucking hilarious.
Is it Coven or Coven?
It's Coven.
I love my
because there's a
Coven.
scene where he's talking to an actor about it, and he's insisting that it's Coven. He's like, "Well, Coven sounds like oven, man," and that doesn't work. I can't. You have to watch that movie, John. You would really get a kick out of it.
Okay, I've never heard of it.
It's fucking hilarious. He's just making this really ultra like low budget shitty horror movie. But watching him really pour his heart into it and things like that is really, really interesting to see. Like movies about making movies I think are just solid, you know.
You know, it'd be awesome. What if one of those ultra low budget Ugandan films, like Who Killed Captain Alex,
Yeah.
actually had a very well put together story behind it,
Yeah.
and it was actually compelling. But it just
But you
looked
just
like
can't even
complete
focus
shit.
on the story because it just looks terrible.
No. Like, well, you could like kind of focus on it or whatever, but it just looks like complete garbage.
Oh yeah. I love
I want to see. I haven't
City
seen anybody
special
do a movie
effects.
like that really, where the story is actually really
the Captain
good,
Alex thing, where
but
it's
everything
the,
else is really bad.
I love the thing in Captain Alex where it's the guy in the helicopter and he's very obviously sitting in like an office chair and they just like cut the footage in there and he's just like leaning out of his chair to shoot his gun down to fucking.
Oh, another thing that might be awesome is what if they took some big budget Hollywood studio took that movie
And remade it.
and just remade it with top of the line effects, but kept all the story points, the quality of acting, everything about the story and how it's presented is the same quality.
They've done that
but
before,
the action
right?
scenes are totally well put together.
Haven't they
Like
done that
good
before?
costume design, good makeup,
Yeah.
good special effects, all that.
Isn't that what was the big idea behind Black Dynamite, where that they were trying to make it exactly like an actual blaxploitation movie at the time?
Well,
Like
but
in
that was the movie
70s.
was written for that movie though.
Well, yeah. So you're saying like take a really old shitty movie and remake it, but actually have it really good quality.
But don't try to be like, well, we could if we did this, if the story would be more compelling.
Oh.
If we did this,
Don't deviate whatsoever.
Don't
from
deviate from it at all. Just update the effects.
I'm surprised there hasn't been like a Plan 9 from Outer Space remake or like a fucking Battlefield Earth remake or.
That would be a great idea.
What?
Those old black and white movies with the shitty monsters.
Yeah.
Just
Gotta
remake
be
the
something.
effects.
Yeah.
But
They
keep
did it
the
with
story
The
the
Thing, they
same.
did it
Keep
with-
the stupid fucking story the same. But just have the effects be really good.
Yeah, they could probably do it. A big part of why Ed Wood sucks is or not Ed Wood. Well, Ed Wood movies is because a lot of his effects are garbage, and like he would there'd be those shots of people like running into scenery and shit, or like knocking over cardboard gravestones, and it looks super obvious. But he would he'd cut it. There it is.
They
There you
remade
go.
it.
What?
Yeah. But I don't.
That's kind of a
What-
closer step. It's not the same, but it's like a closer step to that.
What do you mean it?
But that's not a movie that really needs that.
Yeah.
Like, what if they took the first, like King Kong? No, not King Kong. What if for the new movie that they're gonna make, King Kong versus Godzilla,
Yeah.
they took the
They
actual?
make a King Kong vs. Godzilla movie?
Yeah, they did. It's
Oh.
like really early.
Oh, okay.
What
yeah.
if they took that movie and just basically transposed the script and the screenplay onto
But
a
they
big
use like
budget
actual
movie?
CG,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
really hokey ass Godzilla movies.
Yeah, and
Would
try to
be
get the
fun.
actors to deliver the lines the same way or similar to the
Oh,
same
that'd
way.
be awesome, and like use really shitty dubbing and things like that.
Yeah.
They're doing that. There's a show I actually kind of want to watch that they're doing at Amazon
That'd
Prime.
be so
Channing,
sweet.
it's Channing Tatum and
Yeah.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and they're having a bunch of Hungarian actors, like do all these things, or I forget what nationality they are, and the whole show is like set in like the Cold War, like 70s kind of era, and it's shot really shittily and it looks really bad, but all their lines are dubbed over by Channing Tatum and Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Nick Offerman and shit like that. So I don't know, something like
That's
that.
funny.
I don't.
That sounds pretty fun.
It sounds fun.
That's
Probably gonna be a bad
But it's
movie.
on Amazon
That sounded funny.
exclusive. So who wants to
Amazon
watch it?
exclusive. Oh, I know it's a bad movie now.
Yeah.
Manchester by the Sea was Amazon exclusive. That was a good movie.
Was it?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
It came out in theaters.
I do not remember.
It,
seeing
de- it
Yeah,
most
yeah, it
definitely
did.
did.
Wait, what?
Maybe
Because
it did,
I
but
know I almost saw
I
it
know
in
for
the
a
theater.
fact that Manchester by the Sea was an Amazon like original thing. They probably
Huh.
released it in theaters as a promotional thing, but it was definitely an Amazon original thing.
Well,
Yeah. Like
That's
an
interesting.
Amazon Prime thing.
well,
or
like,
something like that.
yeah, because
Prime Video.
Amazon can allow movie theater can give
Amazon,
movie
but
theaters
they've
their
had
tapes.
good
Well, yeah.
they've had good shows. Transparent is on that, and that's a really good show.
Really, anybody can put something into mainstream movie theaters. You just
Yeah.
need enough money for it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there's no reason why it wouldn't technically be an Amazon exclusive because they could have done that just to like, hey,
I
let's
wonder
make
how
a
much of
little
the
mo-
cost of
more
a
money off it.
movie, what portion of a budget goes to just distribution, like in terms of like disseminating it to a bunch of other theaters, or like and actually paying theaters to show
Could
it.
probably just pay a few people, small team.
I
of
actually
people.
never
Advertising and
understood
distribution
the
costs a
economics
lot
of-
of money.
Well, yeah,
that all costs a
marketing is
lot of money.
Huge.
Like
But the
advertising
actual
a
movie,
lot.
the actual
Yeah.
movie costs a lot of
marketing
money
is
too.
fucked. How much that should cost?
Like marketing, but I don't know about distribution. Like I guess like I don't know.
I just love how
Because I don't know how just the
How, like,
distribution would cut.
modern action movies, like the Fast and the Furious movies, like do so terribly over here, but they do like insanely well in China and shit.
Yeah.
Like how much they like just eat those movies up.
Like that movie The Great Wall with Matt Damon.
Yeah.
Nobody saw it over here,
I
but
know,
it
yeah.
was a fairly decent hit over there.
Yeah, that's
because
crazy.
they just like the action scenes.
Yeah.
That's my theory on why anime has so much exposition. Is because their culture values. They probably go to a movie for a different reason than Americans do. I feel like a lot of Americans go to a movie to be like sucked into it
Yeah, it's an
and
experience.
to appreciate where it takes you. But I feel like in their culture, they more go to a movie like it's just something fun to do.
Oh, it's like an escapist sort of
Yeah,
thing.
it's sort of escapism
Huh.
sort of thing. I mean, obviously, it's not like
I suppose,
it's not like
yeah, that
everybody in
makes
America
sense.
is a cerebral individual and everybody over in China is a fucking moron. I'm not saying that because there's people over here that are morons and there's people over there that are really smart, and there's people over here that go to movies for that reason, and there's
Yeah.
people over there that go
Like,
to movies
the
for
Fast
that
and
reason.
Furious
But-
did well over here. Just
But the
not as
majority culture social trend is
Yeah.
different. It's
Yeah.
like polar opposite.
Well, I mean, there's just a lot of escapist shit in Japan in general, I think.
Yeah.
Like, just being
Crazy
there, like,
cafes.
Yeah, they do,
Yeah.
like, a lot of really bizarre shit, and
But
a lot of it is just escaping. I mean, their lives are mundane as fuck, dude.
Yeah.
Like, they
Probably.
work insane hours, and they're just, they do the same bullshit. There's a ton of herbivore men there.
Yeah, and
like,
you know they have like 80 different flavors of Kit Kat.
Yeah.
So
They
they
need
were
it.
like,
They
They
need to
need it.
spice up their life.
I need my Kit Kats.
They need to spice
my
up their
doctor
life,
prescribed
dude. It's boring
Kit
as
Kats.
shit.
Robbie was saying shit.
yeah. dude,
Okay, well,
they're-
can you shut up?
I can't remember if it was like the amount of like people getting married, or if it was like the age at which people lose their virginity, but it was like really high.
Yeah, I think it's
It was like-
60 to 70% of like middle-aged men in Japan are herbivore men, which means they don't actively pursue like,
Oh, yeah.
romantic
Yeah.
relationships.
Herbivore.
No,
men.
it's because of
I've heard
it's,
of that.
it's just because of gender roles in their society. They're very meritocracy, where your worth in society is based on the work you put in, not like romantic entanglement or things like that. And that's what salarymen are in Japan. It's
That's
just
why they
dudes
like-
wearing suits, going on trains, going to their work.
That's why they like giant robots because they think they are robots.
Probably, dude. I mean,
Yeah.
who knows? That's why, again,
Maybe.
that's
Maybe
a
that's
lot
why
of why
Evangelion
anime
was so
and a lot of why
popular.
the shit they do is so ridiculous, just because their fucking lives
Just
are so
'cause
mundane.
they have to.
You know,
They need.
That's
their,
probably true.
like if you think about it, a lot of like TV in the United States, like shows like Shameless and stuff like that, are really popular, and yet those shows are really like depraved and really fucked up, and
Yeah.
you know what I mean. And I feel like it's just because their lives aren't as like the people who are watching those shows, their lives probably aren't that boring, and they're probably out and doing a bunch of stuff.
Like,
You know, those shows are probably
What, the
pretty
peop-
popular in places like California or something like that.
The
Where they
people
just
who
shit
watch
always going on.
Shameless.
What?
People watch Shameless.
I guess, yeah.
I feel like the people who watch Shameless are, like, I think it's mostly upper lower class.
Upper lower
Lower class. The upper end of the lower class
Okay.
to the
Lower
middle
class.
like just straight up middle class, or maybe a little bit of the upper
Okay,
middle
yeah.
class. Because I feel like they watch that show and they see that family and how poor they are and all the
And it makes them
depraved
feel better about
all
themselves.
the depraved shit they do, and it makes them feel better themselves, right?
Yeah.
Because they're like, I've thought about doing that once, but I didn't do it. Here's what it looks like if I did do it, and I'm glad I didn't do it.
Yeah.
So the conclusion is that in Asiatic cultures, their shit's crazy because they want escapism,
They
but
want
in
escape.
our in
Their
our
shit's
culture,
crazy
shit's
'cause they're-
crazy because we want to make.
And,
Well,
well,
it's all relative.
in their country, shit's crazy because their lives are mundane. But over here,
Shit's crazy
more-
to make you
there's-
feel better about your life. Yeah.
or it's actually our cinema over here is generally more mundane than
Yeah.
what original films from. Have you seen original like Bollywood films?
yes.
Like action Bollywood films? Those things are fucking insane.
I've seen one Bollywood movie. I think it was like a musical.
Like I've seen a clip of it was a Bollywood action film, and this dude was on a motorcycle and he like shot a bullet at a guy who was also on a motorcycle shooting at him, and they like shot their bullets together like 5 times. They're like bullets hit each other in midair 5 times or something like
Axe
that.
cop thing. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like Axe Cop. It's like that. They don't justify anything that happens in the action.
It's just
They just
cool
have the
shit.
action.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like they'll have a dude just be like, just flip a car with his bare hands.
In fairness, there are a lot of movies like that in the U.S., but they're like, you know, movies with wrestlers and shit.
But yeah, but over
Like
here,
Steven Seagal movies.
over here they'll always justify it in some way. Like the character's super strong, he has super strength.
Yeah.
That's why he can flip a car. But they don't say that in India. It's just like he has cool sunglasses, he can flip
It's
a
like
car.
hyper reality.
He's a cool guy and he's strong man.
Yeah,
He can do whatever he wants.
he can
They
punch a
like,
guy through a
fly and
building.
shit.
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
how can they fly? I don't know. They're just jumping really hard. Something. They don't just.
no, they don't even think about that. It's like, how can they fly?
They fly.
That's why I really like the,
Look at him. He
the
can
Raid
fly.
movies, because the Raid is just over the top enough,
Yeah.
but it's just grounded enough. Like they're not like obviously there's not like a like crazy shooting bullets out of the air shit, but it's so fucking insane all the fights that dude gets in and like all the crazy shit he does.
And all the action scenes in the Raid movies are justified in some way.
Yeah.
And everything that happens in them is justified in some way.
Yeah.
Like the reason their fights are so hand-to-hand fights are so crazy is because both the parties are extensively trained in hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah.
So that would make sense why they could fight that way. They're not just like two portly guys punching each other.
Isn't it a shame
At
that
super speeds.
martial arts movies are like dead now? Because that was a big thing that Jackie Chan always talks about, how like a lot of what makes Jackie, again, this is going back to the every frame of painting video, but he talks about how like a lot of what makes his movies cool is that he spends a lot of time shooting very little things, like just cool little tricks he does or things like that, because he has money and because the studio gives him stuff. But in America, like it doesn't work that way. You can't.
Well, if
it
you were
costs
to
a shitload of money to make movies, so you can't.
Yeah.
They don't have time for that bullshit.
If you were to try to release a kung fu movie now, as in the style of those like 70s and 80s kung fu movies,
Yeah.
it wouldn't work because movies today actually rely a lot on critic reviews
Yeah.
and just the general trend of critic reviews.
Yeah. Like
no one
goes and watches movies
if you were to
anymore
release
unless they read the fucking Rotten Tomatoes.
like
or
if
IMDb.
Enter the Dragon would be released today, it would be too expensive to turn a profit, I think.
Yeah.
Because critics would review it and be like, yeah, it's pretty okay, the story's decent.
Yeah.
Audience would see it and they'd be like,
Well,
they were probably expecting more.
yeah.
from
I think
that.
the other problem is that Bruce Lee was like hot shit when Enter the Dragon came out. Like he was some
Yeah.
hot shit. You don't have hot shit martial arts star anymore.
No,
Especially because Donnie Yen is getting too old.
we have superhero movies.
Yeah,
Superhero
superhero
movies are definitely the new kung fu movies. They
Exactly.
fill that gap,
Totally.
They do.
Yeah, I can see it.
and that's where the profit is. Because if you were to release
That's why now
a
there's
kung,
a
like I'm gonna go back to Enter the Dragon. If you were to release Enter the Dragon today, audiences wouldn't get enough from that.
Yeah.
Because they're used to two guys just duking it out and fighting like that. They want to see, if you're gonna do a movie that's just about guys fighting each other, they should have some sort of superpower, or there should be some sort of stylistic gimmick to it. There's a very slim margin for that now. That's not a superhero movie.
There is some new martial arts movie that's coming out. I forget, but it has the dude from The Raid. It has Michael Jai White in it. I forget what the fuck the movie is called, so I guess it doesn't matter anymore.
Atomic Blonde is one of them too, isn't it?
Yeah,
I don't think
And-
Atomic Blonde is a martial arts movie,
Well,
so to
it's
speak.
not like-
it's an
And-
But it's like an action movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The market for those kung fu movies are so niche now that the only viable way to release them would be through something like Netflix.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That-
when
yeah,
you-
totally.
And when you're just on Netflix, it's hard. It'd probably be hard to get the right budget for what you want to do.
I just think it's really sad how like a lot of people nowadays they treat an IMDb rating or a Rotten Tomatoes rating as gospel. You know, they care more about that than like watching a trailer and going, "Oh wow, this movie looks interesting. I want to
Yeah,
see
it's
it."
the-
Because there are movies I really like that do not have good IMDb ratings or Netflix
Yeah, me
ratings.
too.
Like Heavy Metal, I really fucking like that movie. But that
Brad, have
movie
you seen
has-
that movie?
Yeah, I've seen it.
God,
You've
The
seen
one
that movie?
We were
actually,
watching
the
that,
voice
John-
of, like the main character, you know, he's from an 80s band called Steelheart.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's fucking.
Because we were watching that
It's really
movie and we were
fucking
thinking
good.
Brad would fucking love this movie.
Yeah,
I've seen Heavy
because
Metal.
Brad's
Funny
totally
guy.
Brad's
like,
totally into 80s metal.
Heavy,
That's
heavy.
like Zach Wild too and shit.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the guy who voices Squidward in it too. I found out.
Oh,
John
really?
Candy
Yeah,
and shit.
that.
The thing is, that movie does not have a good IMDb rating. It doesn't have a good Rotten Tomatoes rating,
And I wouldn't.
but it's fucking great.
Yeah, I really wouldn't even.
I love it.
I wouldn't call it a good, like a great movie,
Well,
because what I look for in great movies is I like really rounded and well developed plots and character
And Heavy Metal is the exact
growth.
opposite.
And Heavy Metal is the exact opposite. It's just eye candy. It's just eye candy, but it's really good eye candy.
A lot of naked shit and a lot of naked women and
Yeah.
crazy action stuff. God, I fucking love that movie though. There's just something about it. But that was the thing. Like I went to Minority Report. I saw this 90% Rotten Tomatoes rating. I thought, wow, this movie must be really, really good. And I watched it. It's like,
Yeah,
just didn't
that
really
happens.
care for it. And I think that's the problem is that people are just so beholden to rating systems and what critics think instead of. I mean, at the end of the day, you're your own critic. You're gonna like what you like.
Speaking of movies, we gotta watch Kuso.
Oh yeah.
We gotta watch Kuso.
I want to see how fucked that movie is.
Made by Flying Lotus.
Didn't they boo it at Cannes or something like that?
I don't
Or
think they
Sundance or
booed
something
it.
like
They
that?
boo everything crazy at Cannes.
They
I
booed
mean,
fucking Netflix movies at Cannes or Sundance, whatever one. This
they
year
didn't
because
boo
of they
it.
hate Netflix.
They didn't
hate
boo
streaming
it.
services.
At Sundance, all they did was like a few people walked
Yeah,
out
walked
because
out,
it was
yeah.
so gross. But I don't think it's really that gross. Like, there's probably movies out now that are just as gross
Yeah,
on
Baskin.
Netflix.
Baskin.
Yeah, Baskin was gross. It was icky.
Yeah.
But
That's
the thing, like,
if you're ever late at night, if you ever want to watch a horror movie and you have Netflix,
You have
and
an overwhelming urge to scare the shit out of yourself.
watch Baskin. It's a cool little.
and you kind of like dungeon, like gore porn.
Yeah, yeah. It's just like a
body horror.
It's just like a movie with. It's just a small scale movie with a small scale plot,
Also,
and it's just
if
really
I'm gonna
interesting.
shill for horror movies here because I watched it lunch. The Void, that was a good movie. It was really horror cliched, but it actually did a good job of freaking me out.
What's
and
that?
Fucking, they look like people. That movie was fucking great. You would really like that movie, John. They look
I've
like
heard of
people.
it.
Never heard of it.
It's this dude who goes. It's because that's the thing. It's a movie that has the setting isn't crazy. Most of it takes place in an apartment. There's not a lot of characters, but it's so just gripping to watch. And it's so fucking creepy.
I
And
really like.
It's about this dude who keeps getting really weird phone calls about a potential invasion happening by something otherworldly. It doesn't really resolve itself, but it's fucking. It's just insanely well put together.
You've sold me. Don't say anything more because I want to.
They look like people. I really, really recommend it. It's got a great rating on Rotten Tomatoes too, and it was great.
It Follows was good. Was a good.
That was
movie.
awesome.
But
A lot of people
great.
didn't like it. Didn't
that,
it get
man.
bad? I thought it got bad reviews.
No.
I
it
really
got-
did not. I did not like
No.
the last act of that
What-
movie where they're at the pool.
Why I watched that movie was because
Hated
it got a surprising amount of good reviews.
Oh, it did get good.
Because
reviews?
people were expecting it to be just like a cliche
Oh,
80s horror thing.
And
But
it
Like,
did
'cause it was
actually
set up
feel
like
like
that.
an 80s horror movie.
it felt like
but
an
that's
80s
why it
horror
was
movie,
good.
but it wasn't cliche.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It did have tropes in it.
Because they did the best thing you can do with horror movies, which is you don't explain shit.
Yeah.
What you do not see is more
And it had-
terrifying than what you do see. Like, it's...
And It Follows has a great soundtrack, and it has such a
Yeah.
great atmosphere. It
Yeah.
has such a good horror
Like, the
atmosphere.
premise is really.
I'm so...
The idea of it is really
I'm just
creepy.
glad there are good horror movies coming out. Like, obviously horror is probably, like, a genre just absolute laden with dog shit. It's, like, mostly dog shit. But, Get Out came out this year,
Yeah.
and that was fantastic.
I still
Yeah,
don't watch it.
I've been noticing recently, within the last couple years, or a year and a half or so, actually, the fidelity. If go with me on this, the fidelity of movies, of small scale movies especially, are increasing.
Do you mean that they're trying to make it realistic, or...?
No, what I mean is that
Quality?
they're almost. It's almost to the point of meta scripting things. When I'm watching like a movie like Get Out.
Yeah.
Get Out didn't need to be good. It didn't need to be. It didn't. I mean, it didn't need to be like as good as it was.
Yeah, I guess.
But
I
they
mean,
put
you
that
can
extra
see.
effort in to, like,
They put extra effort in. You can see areas where it's like, well, we could just do this.
Yeah.
We could just do this kind of cliche. But it didn't. I don't know how to really explain this, but it just seems like movies are getting more committed to having a good plot.
Yeah. People are
They're
really
more committing-
want to put the effort in, yeah.
They're committing more to being a good movie.
I think a lot
in
of
general.
that just has to come down that's Jordan Peele. Like, I think Jordan
Well,
Peele
and I think-
really goes the extra mile with a lot of the stuff he does, and I think that's a big part of it.
Well, in the broad sense with movies,
He was like the centerpiece of that movie.
in the broad sense of movies needing to be better movies to sell more tickets and more DVDs or whatever.
Yeah. 'Cause you need to be better to...
I think it's the Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb scores and just the aggregation of critic reviews.
So although I bitch about people focusing on that so much, it also is kind of helping the overall quality of movies that people...
Because people are... I'm guarantee you the majority of people before they go out to a movie they look up reviews.
Yeah, because now people who make horror movies can't be, oh, we're gonna make a generic horror movie. People are gonna watch it. We're gonna make
people are gonna watch it because the trailer looks cool.
Yeah.
Now people don't really do that as much.
They have to be like, we have to make a horror movie, but we also have to have a good plot and a good premise,
or
and
just
the writing
remake
has to
something
be good.
because
like,
there's that market for longevity now, where people, if it's a good movie, people are gonna pay for it 10 years from now. As well as now, because it's just a good movie.
I bought it out like very soon after it came out.
That's great, because now we're phasing out the cheap shit that just use gimmicks to get people in the theaters.
I think another reason,
although that's not going to be completely gone ever.
No.
I don't know. Like, I think another thing is I think we're seeing a trend towards a lot. I think just movies have been getting darker lately. Like, things have gotten a lot more visceral, or there's a lot of social commentary, because obviously the hostile political climate we have in the United States, and like people are becoming more aware of like just shitty socioeconomics, that they're making movies that are really dark and fucked up. And like that's a big thing with Get Out, is a lot of it is the social commentary of it, is why it also I think is a good movie, is because it does that social commentary, but it's subtle enough, but it's also in your face just enough, and then also with Dunkirk, like showing how war is super fucked up. I haven't seen that movie yet, but that's
I
like
want to see
the
that movie.
consensus with that movie.
I watched
that
Dunkirk.
It's really fucking crazy.
I thought it was good.
And
I've also noticed the technology for gore is incredible now.
Yeah, no.
So they're able to make it really
Yeah,
fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Dude, have you seen Hacksaw Ridge? That movie
No.
is fucking insane how violent it is. But like, no, because that's the thing. I feel like people, like now that sort of thing is happening, now that you can use even just CG to do something between like, oh, let's make this gore look hyper realistic, or let's bring dead actors back to life, like in Rogue One. Even though
Like,
that was really
CG has
Uncanny
gone a
Valley
long
shit, but like,
way.
yeah.
Like, the fact that it is in the Uncanny Valley shit and doesn't look fake as hell. Like,
yeah. I don't
means
know.
that
If
if
you
you
watch
watch-
Tarkin and Princess Leia and Rogue One,
If you watch
yeah, it looked
little
off.
melted cheesy.
you know Better Call Saul,
Yeah.
there was a breakdown of the special effects in one episode, and it was just this part of the episode where it's this truck smuggling drugs across the Mexican border. And you'd think, okay, they just find a border station, rent it out or they maybe construct one from a set,
Yeah.
and just like film trucks going into it.
Yeah.
But there's more to it than that. They had to like CG erase things in the background because they actually shot it in the desert. They had to add parts of the building, like they had to add the logo of the company to the building. They had to add little CG things to the trucks, and it's just all this little stuff that you wouldn't notice that's CG, but totally is.
Yeah.
As much as I hate Freddie Wong videos, he actually has a really good video on CGI where he talks about how like the best CGI is the stuff you really don't
it's the
see.
totally subtle
It's
stuff.
the really subtle stuff.
The stuff you're not supposed to see.
That's great.
Because if you do like a CG monster, people are always going to notice that because
Yeah.
it's not something.
It's
It's not
something-
something they see every day. It's something so abnormal
But
that it can only possibly be.
But the problem is that
No,
I feel like
CG.
Because CG is so like a lot of it is used for subtle things in movies, is that also kind of contributes to why like animators and CG artists are paid like dog shit, and they have terrible work hours. And,
You'd think
like
they'd
that was
give-
the whole thing behind Sausage Party.
Oh,
that movie got
because-
a ton of shit.
You're saying because
they,
it's
like,
so
do-
subtle. You're saying it's so subtle that people
that
don't.
people undervalue it or something
Yeah.
like that. Like, I mean, we watched Guardians of the Galaxy 2, or whatever, and like seeing the CG in that was fucking insane. Like all the shit they're doing and
Yeah.
things like that. And that's
Look
really
how
on its
far
face.
we've gone from Spy Kids.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm so happy.
Like,
Holy
fucking Spy Kids.
But the thing
Spy
is,
Kids.
back then,
Can you imagine if someone like did thumbs now and they're looking like really hyper realistic and fucked up?
I want
looking?
a horror movie about thumb thumbs. Like they just a massive thumb thumbs just
I want the
overrun a
movie.
town.
I want Kevin Smith to make a sequel to Tusk, but instead it's turning a guy into a thumb.
You know, I really liked Tusk. I thought
I saw
it's one of those movies where it's almost like an experiment movie, where the director's like, oh, I wonder if I could make a movie like this.
Yeah.
And they do.
I guess that's a lot of Kevin Smith movies. I feel like.
Yeah.
I feel like that's another thing about Fidelity. Like he had the idea for what if this dude gets turned into a walrus, and thought, how could I actually tell a reasonable
compelling story that people want to sit through. Although the premise is
how would that make
into
sense?
A walrus, yeah.
And he's like, how would that make sense? What type of character would want to kidnap somebody and turn him into a walrus?
Yeah.
And he actually put that in a story on screen.
Wow.
Just the well-roundedness of character decisions, I guess, really impressed me.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I feel like there's so many filmmakers who like. I think the problem is that I really like movies that it's a really simple premise. Or like it's a one act or one setting sort of thing. Like there's a movie I really enjoy. Oh God, I forget the name of it, but it's with Christoph Waltz and Jodie Foster, and it's like the whole movie is two sets of parents who are like having lunch with each other, having coffee with each other, because their kids got into a fight.
Oh, Jodie Foster's in that movie?
I think so. Yeah, I think she's John C.
No,
Reilly's.
yeah, John C.
wife
Reilly's in that movie.
And that movie is actually really fun to watch.
What's it called? It's
I
called
think
like Damage or
yeah.
or like Collateral, something like that.
John C. Reilly's fucking movie.
Like it's like a one-word thing. But if you Google like John C. Reilly, Christoph Waltz movie, it'll come up.
You'll come up.
But that's an excellent movie.
Yeah, and like I like it when, but the problem is that stuff can be so hard to pull off. Like I thought that Free Fire would be an awesome movie because it's like a boy warehouse thing. That movie sucked.
Oh my god, I was really excited for Free Fire because it just looked. I guess it looked cool.
I don't know.
I didn't look up reviews.
But I like movies that can be like, as much as I like movies with crazy exposition and all this lore and stuff to them and things you don't explain and you kind of have to think about. Like that's why I really like Mulholland Drive, is because there's so many like theories and different interpretations of things. That's why I like it so much. But I also like movies that can be pretty straightforward and simple and kind of delve into the human psyche sort of thing.
It's all in the execution. You can have any kind of idea you want. There's no such thing as a bad idea.
You can make it into a good movie.
Yeah, you can make a movie about a cardboard box that gets smashed by a foot. You can make that a great movie if you execute it well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like you could probably win Best Picture if you
but
were
then
that good of a
also,
filmmaker.
And then of course there's Rubber.
Yeah, there's Rubber.
Oh yeah, I'll make a movie about a tire blowing up, and that movie sucks.
The execution of that movie is
Mr.
pretty
Oizo.
amazing, to be honest.
Mr. Oizo he's good.
I mean, I think Rubber got a little too. I feel like at some point they kind of gave up on the idea and didn't just stop developing it.
Yeah.
But I was surprised by how good Rubber was. I mean, it's not a great movie. It's barely a good movie.
Yeah.
But I would recommend it just to see, a movie where there's a tire that can blow people up.
Yeah.
That just rolls around the desert and does shit.
I don't know. I think people could really experiment with like I love like sort of one setting or very low character count movies. One of my favorite episodes of Twilight Zone is the one where it's like a bunch of people it's like there's a major, a clown, guy plays the bagpipes, and a ballerina.
That's a great episode.
And a bum, and they're all in like 5 characters in search of an exit, and they're all in a little like a room together and they're trapped. That's fucking a really, really good episode because it's so simple. And the twist works. I mean, the twist was kind of stupid if you ask me, but like, it's more about like them sort of piecing things together from the simplicity of it, and that's what I really like about it,
And that episode was totally constructed from the top down. Like they had the twist in mind.
Yeah.
And then they went and like, okay, how can we plant clues to this reveal, but still keep the audience, keep the key morsel of information away from them until the very end.
Yeah. Do you know what fucking drives me insane though? In Twilight Zone, they're one of the highest rated episodes, and what a lot of people ends up on one of the best of lists. It's an episode called The Intruders, where the whole episode there's no dialogue, and it's a woman in a cabin, and she sees like these little astronauts like shit.
I like that episode too.
I fucking hate that episode. I really don't like it. It's not.
Why not?
It doesn't feel compelling at all to watch. It just feels really boring, and a lot of the episode is just this woman wandering around her house, like swatting at shit with a broom. If you watch it,
it's probably one of the
there's
weaker
not a lot
Twilight
going
episodes.
on, and there's not a lot to there's not a lot of depth to it or analysis to it. That's a lot of the movie. A lot of the episode. A lot of why I feel like people like it is just because of the twist. And if that's all you're watching Twilight Zone shit for, is like, yeah, the twists are usually pretty good, but I mean, come on, you have to have. It's the build up to the twist. I feel like is way more important than the twist itself.
For that, there was really no evidence of what the twist was.
Yeah,
scattered throughout.
That's why the twist is effective. But I think that there's just no build up.
But I did like the very classical feel of it, and I did like the atmosphere of it.
I guess I don't know.
But I mean,
like,
there's been since that episode came out, there's been so many different pieces of media and movies that have done the same thing a lot better, and have it feels like now if you watch it, it feels like just a demo version, kind of a Twilight Zone episode. But I do like it.
So I'm glad Black Mirror exists. That people are going back to that sort of formula of like.
There's a new season of Black Mirror coming out like
when?
Either next year or a couple years from now.
It's too fucking far away.
Yeah.
I'm pissed. I want more
Black Mirror is fucking awesome.
Black Mirror.
Oh my god.
It really makes you think.
It does make you think. It's great.
It's pretty.
It makes me fucking scared. Like honestly, Black Mirror, like episodes of Black Mirror have freaked me out more than really fucked up horror movies. Like again, 15 Million Merits really fucks me up. Shut Up and Dance really fucks me up. Like watching those episodes and just the shit that goes on is crazy. And the White Christmas was fucked up too.
I need to watch more Black Mirror. I've only watched like 3 episodes.
It's a good thing. Skip Waldo moment though. That's a bad episode.
Okay.
He's dumb.
It's the weakest one.
It's gosh.
Should I skip it?
I wouldn't recommend skipping it.
It's a Donald
but you
Trump
don't need
giant
any of the
Trump
episodes for the
metaphor,
other episodes.
basically.
Yeah.
Like
that's why there's no point.
There's barely references to the other episodes.
Yeah.
In episodes, but
I might.
There's no continuity in the show.
I mean, there's only how many? There's only 12 episodes in the whole series, so I'd say watch it just to get more Black Mirror.
Oh yeah, because there's more than 12 episodes in the whole series.
There's 3 in the first season.
Yeah.
There's 3 in the second season.
4 is White Christmas.
White Christmas is kind of like a movie.
Yeah,
okay,
but
so
I guess
still
an episode
so there's 13
in the second
episodes.
season.
There's 13
and then there's
episodes.
5 episodes?
6 in the third season.
Oh.
Yeah, so there's 13 episodes.
Wow.
I also didn't really like the episode, but that's also gets really highly praised though, is the one with Domhnall Gleeson, where it's the chick loses her husband and then she has the robot.
You don't like that one?
I don't know. It was all right.
I want a robot husband.
I mean, my favorite episode of that show is Shut Up and Dance.
Okay.
Because that really puts you in the mindset of the characters and makes you feel fucking terrified.
But real talk,
while you're them. Yeah.
If you had a robot husband, what would you do with your robot
husband? Well, I'm not gay, so I wouldn't have a robot husband, Jake. Thank you very much.
But what if you did have a robot husband?
Okay, I would just use him as a body man.
I'd make him
carry all my shit.
I'd make him do a funny dance, and I'd make him do a funny dance, and I'd throw peanuts at him.
If I had a robot husband,
I'd probably like punch him a bunch just to do it.
If I had a robot husband, I'd make him clean.
I'd make him do all my work shit. Yeah. I'd say go to work.
Wait, or have him do stuff you can't do,
like
heavy shit. Build me a house or something.
Yeah.
It'd probably take a while.
I'd use my robot husband as a toilet.
How intelligent is this robot?
Let's
say it's human intelligence.
Human intelligence, but not
free will.
No free will.
What if you told it
the intelligence of the human brain, but with the efficiency and obedience of the machine?
What if you told it to have free will?
Well, that won't work.
Probably wouldn't compute.
What if you had it read all?
You gotta follow the
laws
of robotics,
fine.
John,
Okay.
Which I don't know how those apply. What are the laws of robotics again? They can't kill humans. They can't refuse an order by a human.
They can't hurt you. They can't refuse an order, and they can't follow an order that would hurt you.
Yeah,
something like that. It was in the movie I, Robot.
Yeah.
I saw that movie like a million years ago.
Following
dog
those
shit.
Rules.
Yeah. No one wants to watch that movie.
Following those rules.
Is he like? Is it like an indestructible robot? How much damage can I do to this robot?
Let's say it's the equivalent to human strength.
Oh.
Like it's a human for all intents and purposes, but it's a robot.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
Like it's an android.
I'd make him do the dishes.
Let's say it's basically like Bishop from Aliens. So he does have actually. He can do the knife.
I'd tell him. I'd set up a YouTube prank, YouTube channel, and I'd have him do all the pranks for me.
Oh. I thought you were gonna say I'm gonna set up a prank video where I fucking murder him and then see if I'll go to prison for it.
I
Set
would
up a Fiverr and then make him do whatever people pay.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, that'd be perfect.
Set up a Fiverr.
Because he has no dignity. He's not gonna
There you
refuse
go.
to not do anything.
Tell my robot to do something funny.
Yeah, we've come full circle. We'll just set up a Fiverr for him, and then
Yeah, that'd be great.
Tell my
that's-
robot.
I'll do anything.
Oh,
that's the Fiverr.
I have literally no dignity left. I will jump off a bridge. I don't give a fuck.
well, now that we've wrapped it all up, it's a good place to stop.
I suppose, yeah.
I guess so.
Because we unfortunately can't talk forever.
Yeah.
We could.
Oh, we should get robots. We should get robots of ourselves so that they can do the podcast for us.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
And then they just start talking in their own language, like those Facebook robots.
I just send my robot
These are
husband
weird
to
robots.
work for me.
I don't know. I just like the idea
just
of
make
having...
my robot husband like get a job and work for me.
No, guys, you know it'd be perfect for a band if we got robot doppelgangers of ourselves and then just like program the songs into them and then have them play the songs on stage.
Yeah.
I think the best...
So just like there's like a speaker in each of the robots like playing a different track.
It just looks like a Chuck E. Cheese band. They're like barely moving their arms and legs.
Yeah.
Just
if we do have robots in the future, they need to be as far down the uncanny valley as possible. They need to be animatronic. They need to be dog shit.
No,
looking.
we should really keep them in the uncanny valley because then you get situations like in Blade Runner and like in iRobot where they get too
start
human.
murdering people.
Yeah.
Except the villain in Blade Runner actually, like, he had good intentions. All he wanted to do was live. Like, he didn't. I mean, yeah, he killed a bunch of people, but like,
You know,
he had good.
But-
you know.
the thing about sex robots is I wouldn't want a blowjob from like an uncanny valley fucking face.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Because then it's basically like sucking your dick with a vacuum. At that point, I mean, what's to stop the robot from just ripping your dick off?
I don't think I could be hard at that point.
That's
it
the
would just
problem.
be too
Yeah,
creepy.
like how is that gonna work? Like you can't have like a consolidated sex robot thing because everyone's different. Everyone's
Like-
built a little differently. You can't just have one sex robot.
What if we
You
all
have to have
got
it
gay
custom
sex
made.
robots? Like if we all got gay sex robots,
It
they'd
wouldn't
all
be
just
gay.
They'd all fuck each other.
they'd all be having sex.
They'd all be having sex right now.
The
Yeah.
robots have sex so you don't have to. It's like a Wall-E thing where you just sit on your fat ass in a chair and you
It's
just
like
watch
Slippery
things.
Yeah.
But
I can see it.
but that's a story for another
That is
time.
a story from that
Thanks
time.
for tuning in.
That should be the fourth law of robotics.
Tune in next week when we all make good on our
Thou
suicide pact
shalt
and
not
kill
fuck
ourselves.
robots.
Get out of here!
Get the fuck.
Get out of our SoundCloud page. Or
Go.
YouTube
Fuck,
page,
get off our
or
page.
Leave.
wherever you're
Dude,
listening.
pause
Do you have a
Pause this
life?
video and go make some
I'm gonna
food.
draw this out as far as it can go.
Guys, come
Just
on,
hit the
get a
space
life.
bar, you piece
Just
of shit.
leave. Just leave. Do something with your life.
Anybody who's listening
You're
to this,
clipping this shit.
anybody who's listening to this, I hate you.
You're a
I hate
fucking
you so
loser.
much. I wish
Yeah.
you would
Are you
die.
kidding?
Go.
Like and subscribe for
Go
more.
poop in your own
Like,
mouth.
Subscribe for more funny YouTube kissing pranks. Good night.
Hit the subscribe button.